TGIF, thank God it's Friday, the 8th of July 2022. Around that 1 days to the general elections, 8th, of course that's not 8th, 9th of August, just 31 days away. And oh boy, what a race it's turning out to be, from the push and shoves of the IBC to the people saying that we might not take part in these elections if 1, 2, 3 is not done. That's all that we are lining up for you in the day. You have to get locked because we have a lot for you. But first things first, my name is Vincent Kirosi, standing in for my colleague Chris Sambo for today, and we have a lot lined up for you. But as I said, first things first, what is happening on the roads this morning? Let's look around the roads that lead into the city. I want to look at, Langata Road into the city. I'm looking at the roundabout around Nyayo Stadium. Nyayo Stadium, not so bad, but there is a little bit of traffic around there. And of course, look at, now Uhuru Highway into Haile Selassie roundabout. Very, very crazy around there. So if you want to get into the city, you need to plan your time well and get out of the house early, get into the city. Mbagad Way or Raila Odinga Road, not so bad going into the city, but around the roundabout around Kenyatta, KNH, not looking so good. You move into Valley Road. Valley Road really flowing well into the city. Nairobi Expressway, things are looking good, but you have to be very careful because we have new measures. Of course, no PSVs and the speed limits at 110 kph. So you need to plan yourself well, and that is what is happening on our roads this morning. All you need to do is to have your time well. If you want to get into the city as early as possible, then of course you have to get ready into the city as fast as possible. I'm told to look at Jogo Road. Jogo Road, not so bad, but again, around the roundabout, as always, things not looking so well, a little bit busy, a little bit jammed up, but things not as bad. So I think the roads are not as bad. Into Landis looking good, flowing well, but around the roundabout, farmers market, not so good. So the roads, that is it. I would say in a nutshell, they're looking good this Friday, but you need to plan your time well into the city. That's what is happening on the roads this morning. Off the roads, onto the papers. The headlines today, the Daily Nation. The big headline there, Decision 2022, of course, the chaos at IBC. 10 questions to the IBC, or 10 questions to the IBC chairman, Wafula Chebukati. Question 1, why have the names of 16,098 candidates not been formally published? Question 2, on what basis were ballot papers printed without the Gazette notice? Question 3, does the printing ballots before the gazettement of candidates expose IBC to legal suits? Question 4, when was the ballot printer in Greece instructed to begin printing? Question 5, why were IBC commissioners only notified on Wednesday night about the arrival of the first batch of the ballot papers yesterday? Question 6, from the IBC supervised the printing of the ballot papers in Greece? Why the secrecy around KPMG voter register audit report? Question 8, why the insistency to clear candidates whose qualification to vie have been questions? Question 9, why the push to have the media take over the results tallying process? And question 10, what is the Commission's position on allegation of interference by political actors? This is the top page of the Daily Nation, of course, talking about the chaos that are around IBC. 31 days to the general election, a month to the August 9th elections. And that is at that juncture, I want to bring in my panelists in studio. First of all, introduce them. Close to me is Francis Ireri. Of course, not the first time you're here. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Habari ya Naivasha?
Iko fresh.
Watu wazima kule?
Kabisa.
The ground iko sawa?
Imekubali.
Bado kuna masikio?
Kabisa.
And of course, my far right there seated is a new one, Thomas Gadongo.
Yes.
Thomas Gadongo, yeah. From Ikino from Kiambu County. How is Ikino?
Ikino is good. It's raining today. It's nice.
It's a blessing.
It's a blessing, yeah.
Karibu sana. Let's talk about the chaos at IBC. I know you're following this keenly because you are stakeholders, and of course, this is the referee that is going to officiate the matchup in August 9. Do you feel that the IBC is truly ready for the polls? Bwana Thomas?
Yeah, well, I have to say, I feel at this point there is a lot of unanswered questions. And personally, as an individual, I have to say I'm not very happy because, of course, this is what has resulted to a lot of questions being raised. And I think IBC, being a state agency, should have a lot of transparency. I mean, all of us as candidates who are fighting for various positions should be very happy. But personally, I'm not very happy. I have to say, I'm not very happy.
Are you happy, Bwana Francis?
I will not say I'm happy. There's a lot of questions to be answered. And I believe we should not politicize the issue at hand because what's going to polarize our country is when we politicize such issues. We should allow the IBC to answer and respond. I know media plays a big role in ensuring that we as citizens understand what the process is at stake. I'll be worried as a candidate. My name has not been published, yet I've been campaigning, asking for people for their votes. But I would say let's not politicize at the moment. Let's wait for the IBC to respond, and then we can take from there, because I believe this time round things are going to be different. It's no longer the same like as before. People are awake, and people are asking the right question, and people are not going to listen to propaganda. So I'll say, as much as there's uncertainty and a bit of worry on my part as a candidate, let's give IBC a chance to respond, and let's scrutinize the response on the questions that people are asking.
Do you feel that they still have time? Of course, it's a month or so to the general elections, August 9. Do you still think that there's still time for them to put their house in order?
I think they have time, because it's a bit late, and I hope they don't do things in a rushed way, because now you're hearing that people are raising questions. There should be manual, whatever, but there should be time. They should have enough time, because as my colleague here has mentioned, this is a state organ. They have the resources to do it and ensure that it's done on time. So let them act on speed and make sure that we Kenyans get the right answers. Yes.
The question that they are asking, the Daily Nation is asking, why the names of 16,098 candidates not being formally published? It's 31 days to the general elections. Your names, you as candidates that are vying for the various seats in these coming elections have not been published.
Yeah, I have to say, first of all, like Francis have said, I think it's very disappointing when you've been working hard, doing a lot of campaign, then you miss your name there. But then again, Wafula Chebukati is not a new man in this in this kind of situation. So I believe I have a lot of confidence in him, I have to say, and I believe, like he has said, he has enough time to put the house in order, and then he will come back with the answers. Let us give him time, and I believe he will give us answers in due course. Yeah.
Another issue that is pertinent is that yesterday the first batch of the ballot papers arrived in the country, but the Daily Nation is asking, does the printing of ballot papers before the gazettement of candidates expose IBC to legal suits? That is one question they're asking about the same. And another they're asking about is why the IBC commissioners only notified on Wednesday night about the arrival of the first batch of the ballot papers. These are precipitation towards legal suits, because there's a process. Election is a process, and there's a process that is around even tendering and all that. Why is it happening like it's happening in a harm, sort of?
I think my understanding so far, I think is You know, there was a lot of issues when candidates were said, like those political parties, there were nominations. Then after nomination, there was a law that saying that they should not vie for any political seat after nomination. Then abruptly, then there was they can run for independent candidate after a certain period of time. And I think I'll give it to IEBC. I think they are trying, because you can imagine, my brother, that you don't know how many people are going to run. All of a sudden you have been told, after nomination, these candidates, they fall apart. Then you hear this all this issue of they can run as an independent candidate. The next thing you hear, there are people who don't have documents. So they are trying to verify documents, you know what's happening in the country with the degrees and all that. So I think that's where there's been hiccups. And I believe a nation or a constituency, what do you call it? Any rule or policies of a company, and even a constitution itself, it takes years to build policies that are solid and are not permeable. They won't let water in. Check in an instance for like America, they spend a lot of time making sure that those policies and the issue, the instrument, maybe for instance for election, they take time. So I believe there is that push and pull, and I can say yes, there will be going to be a lot of legal suits, but I believe. If we work together, those elected leaders, leaders who are asking for political positions, if they can come together and not politicize the issue and check, this is the problem. Okay, it was not published. The documents have been published. How did the tendering process happen? Because what happens in our country and in Africa in general, leaders politicize each and every issue instead of coming together and saying, guys, look, this is IBC. The reason we printed the papers is because of ABCD. Okay, because there were nominations. They will listen to what they have to say. Then we can judge, so that we can move as a nation. Because now the moment we have lawsuits, then we're going to start saying we have to shift the election. Then it will be now this political party or this alignment that was issued to collude, so that we can postpone the election. So I still want to say, let's not politicize the issue. Let's ask those questions, let them get right. So the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, we'll have a seamless election whereby no candidate will feel that my votes will be stolen because of a system. And I think that's what we need to do.
Yeah. Is it a valid question that is being asked that the first batch of the ballot papers arrived yesterday? Remember, it has not been gazetted yet, but they're already in the country. And the commissioners got to be told that the papers are coming tomorrow. That's on Wednesday night. Is it something that is it a question of transparency, from the commission itself?
There's a lot of questions arising from these issues. You see, whenever we did a job, personally, I'm an electrical engineer, whenever we do a project, we document. And then we have a meeting after the project on lesson learned, where we discuss what mistakes have we done, how do we make sure that we don't repeat these mistakes again, and how do we make sure that we deliver the next project flawlessly, seamlessly. The problem we're having with IEBC, I don't know whether after 2017 they had, because we had almost similar issues like we're having right now. Back then, I remember, because there was that Dubai company issue and such kind of things. So did Wafula and the team sit down? They have a sitting. What lessons did they learn from then? Because we can't, if we expect growth, then we cannot keep discussing the same issues. So I feel there is a lot of, I'm sorry to say this, but I feel like they are lacking somehow, because we should not be having the same questions which were asked towards elections 5 years ago being asked right now. I feel like they did not have the lessons learned meeting. So this, of course, is going to have a lot of, like Francis is saying, maybe there might be a lot of lawsuits and things like that. We are hoping we don't come there, and that's why I'm saying I have confidence in Wafula, because he dealt with it then, so I believe he'll deal with it now.
But how did he deal with it then? Was it sufficient then?
Well, it seemed sufficient because we had an election and it happened, and people are quite, people seemed happy with what happened then. So I'm really hoping it happens this time, and that the reason then again I'm saying is that he's not new here. So I believe he has the capacity to handle the pressure that is amounting from what is happening. But what I would say, and like I've said, they should have these lessons learned meetings. You know, it's very important. It's very important. I think we are not documenting our mistakes from back then and avoiding repeating them later, so that we can have, in 2027, we don't have these kind of questions being asked, like, did we have a PO? Was it printed? Who was this document given to? How many companies tendered for this, for this job and things like that? What pre-qualifications? What was decided to eliminate certain company and come up with a particular company? You know, such kind of questions. So they should have that lessons learned meeting, so that we can have a flawless thing happening in 2027.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure. There is another question that it's asked by the Nation newspaper, that what is the Commission's position on allegation of interference by political actors? And I want us to play a soundbite, actually one or two, of the candidate of Azimio, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, saying the day before yesterday, he said that there could not be no election if there is no manual register at the polling station. And of course, the IBC, replied yesterday and said that the court ruling was that the primary register is actually the one that is electronic, the KIMS kit. So I want us to play a bite by the Right Honorable Raila Odinga on that, and of course, then we listen from what Chebukati said.
Wamechagua polling stations kama 10,000 pale ambapo wataweza kuingiza hizo kura 200 ili ingie pale, ndio wapate kura 2,000,000 ya ili ya ziada ya uongo. Naelewa sawa? Hiyo ndio sababu bwana Chebukati anakataa atisitumie ile manual register. Sasa mimi nataka kutangaza hapa Githunguri, manake najua manual register kitumika itajulikana watu wangapi ambao walipiga kura katika kituo hiki. Naelewa vizuri. Ile ya electronic ni hakuna rekodi ambayo inabaki hapo. Ndio sababu sisi tunasema juzi ati lazima tuwe na manual register. Pale ambapo mtu akiingia ndani, jina yake ikisipatikana katika hiyo register inatolewa, alafu yeye anakwenda kupiga kura. So we are saying that manual register is a must at each and every polling station. This is not negotiable. You're telling the IBC they must have a manual register along with biometric identification of the voters on that polling day. Kabla hivyo hakuna uchaguzi. Umeona vizuri?
Yes, that's the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, the candidate for Azimio Coalition, Azimio One Kenya Coalition Party, talking about the manual and electronic register. Let's talk about this issue candidly. In 2013, 2017, it was an issue, and the court ruled, the High Court ruled that the KIMS kit or the electronic register will be the primary register that will be used at polling station. But then there should be a backup. But this time round, it seems that the IBC is not so positive, not so, pulled into having a manual register at the polling station. They want to say that they will have a backup, but this backup will still be electronic. Is it an issue that you think is going to be favorable to the voters at that particular polling station?
I think so far it's a matter of technology and age. Mm-hmm. For instance, if you have to tell an elder person you're having a meeting on phone, on a laptop, on Zoom, they really don't understand. How can you have a meeting on Zoom? And I'm not saying Mr. Honorable Raila Odinga is an old man. He's an old man, of course. But there's a contentious issue because in what I believe before, when they were saying kura zinaibiwa, people could print a lot of papers and bring and put in the boxes. And somebody feels now, if technology can be twisted and numbers, it's about numbers, they're multiplied, it can be an issue. What the Honorable Raila is saying, he also needs a verification because it's old school. It's a way of verifying. It's like a register.
Yeah.
You tick something and then check manually.
Yeah.
I know it can be a challenge because what if some polling stations don't have physical register?
Yeah.
It will take a lot of time because I know IEBT. We went to a sensitization program, and I see IEBC is very ready. They have backups, generators, a lot that have been distributed to ensure that even the local area, the most remote areas, they have backup on this digital registry.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's what's so hard for them to come maybe and explain to the Honorable Raida, and he proves to what he's saying, the allegations, because we want to go to an election whereby there are no allegations,
Yeah.
and it will be counterproductive for us to go to an election whereby somebody starts already saying, crying foul, saying it was this was how it was planned. So I will say, for me, if it's possible, why not have a backup? Because we know primary in any source is the digital one, and I believe there's a difference now between the age groups of different people, the nation of people who are voting. We have the old generation and we have the new generation,
yeah,
who understand technology, who knows now. For instance, you don't understand your granny telling him you don't leave the house. You'll order for food, you'll order for shukari, you'll order for even nails, you'll order for anywhere, for the comfort of your house. So there's that gap that we need to bring together, to bridge, and say, you know what, this is digital, this is your name, because this is your name on the system, I can see your name, and this is where it's physical, you vote from here, and this is ticked. And I think that will really help, and we come together again and bridge that gap on technology, because technology cannot hide anything on technology, but anything can be played until we make sure that the systems are permeable, they solid. Then we don't have issues like that. And I believe the next coming election, or this one and the next coming election, then few two elections, we have people who are young, we have people who understand technology, and we don't have issues. As such in the future.
It's about technology, but let's talk about an issue where people from the village that a place where it's labor intensive, the kind of things they do with their hands, and maybe their fingerprints are not good enough to be identified using the biometrics, so to speak. What happened to such people? Because they might come to a polling station, they are very sure they were registered there. They verified when there was a verification then that they were registered there. But now, because the only register available is the KIMS kit, they may not be able to vote. They have to go back home because their fingerprints are not good enough.
First of all, I would have to say, as an engineer, it would be very bad for me it would be almost criminal for me to lack confidence in the very systems that we are trying to make. We must embrace change. We talk of European nations, America, there are so many years ahead technologically. We must start also the journey towards that if you really want that to happen. I feel your question when you ask what happens with those kind of people. But what percent of the population really is that? And in this case, I believe the word is the primary method of verification. Primary. He did not discuss about the secondary. The court discussed about the primary. So I believe maybe, I'm not sure, we should have these manual ones, but for those exceptional cases, maybe I had an accident, I lost my hands, I need to vote. So that's why we have even identity cards, so manual register as well, for those exceptional cases, they can be used. But if you want to bring change, and we really must start the journey, then, because you remember, like he said, long ago, it was like people are drawing in papers and then throwing them inside. That's why we're having these issues. That's why we had to introduce this new technology, because it works elsewhere. So I believe it's a good piece of technology. We should give it a shot. We should go that direction, because that is where the world is headed anyway. And then we can do manual for those exceptional cases.
For exceptional cases. I want to bring in Advocate Biko Shoya, just arrived in studio a little bit late today. But we understand, Biko, karibu sana. And we want to bring you in on this issue. Is it precipitating a legal legal suits that actually could lead to general election nullification. Because what happens if I'm a voter, I've gone to a polling station, I have a civic right to vote, and I'm not able to vote because I could not find, my biometrics could not be, you know, work in the KIMS kit, and I have to just go away because the manual register is not there. Is it, as a citizen, is it an issue that I can raise in a legal court and say this election were not good enough, were not fair?
Vincent, thank you so much. You know, we have to understand that the system that we are operating with is neither completely manual, neither is it completely, you know, automated. Yeah. It's actually a mixture of both. It's a hybrid of both, you know, the manual and electronic. Because then electronically your details will be verified, but then after your details have been verified, you will go and take a ballot. You know, that is a physical process now, because after verification, then you go and take a ballot, and then you mark on it physically. And then when you are going to deposit it in the ballot box, it is done physically, right? So it is a hybrid of both. Yeah. And and you know, sometimes I wonder why people say that, you know, we are going to vote, you know, electronically or when they want to bring all this whole perception of this whole process being, you know, being digital, digital or automated. Yeah. So it is a hybrid of both. And the perception that people have about the process being manual is with the physical register, which is an alternative to the register that is there digitally, right? So we have to understand, and Kenyans have to understand, that we are dealing with a hybrid system, and when then someone comes and asks for a physical register, it is not anything different from the from the automated register that, you know, that IBC has. But then be that as it may, and just to answer your question, what happens then if someone goes to the polling station and they find that their details cannot be verified, you know, from electronically? Yeah. Then what happens? And that is what my brother here was talking about. We have various ways of identification of a person. He's talked about the national identification card. He's talked about your biometrics insofar as your fingerprints are concerned. And other Kenyans even did their registration by way of, you know, using passports and all that. So in the unlikely event that then one form of verification of a voter fails, then IEBC has a duty to ensure that they use any other form of identification or means of identification to ensure that every voter votes. Because then, if they are not allowed to vote, it becomes a constitutional right issue. Yeah. And we even have politicians in the House. One vote is actually a very, because we've had instances where elections have been won by one vote. Yeah. So if one voter is not allowed to vote, then it's a fundamental issue that the IBC has to look into. Yes.
Even as we talk about that, then why do we are seeing the two sides of the political divide? The Azimio one really inclined to having a backup, the manual backup, and the other side, Kenya Kwanza, they don't seem to have an issue. Is it one working for the other, and I'm pulling my side, you know, pulling towards my side? Thomas.
Yeah, like Francis said, maybe it's an age issue. I'm sorry to bring that up, but you know, because you look at the Kenya Kwanza guys, they are quite young, and I would say hip. You know, they are quite conversant with tech. Like he used that example of a Zoom meeting. I have problems with my dad, and he's not very old in the house, trying to tell him which links to click. and how to get the meeting going. So maybe it's an issue of age,
I wouldn't really say it's an issue of age. I think it's an issue of experience. It's an issue of experience. Let me tell you one thing. The Azmio team have been there. Have been there before, and they've seen, and and they've interacted with the process. They've interacted with the system, and they know how it works. And even when we talk about 2017, it is an issue that it was a fundamental issue that even a court had to make a determination on.
Yes.
On the issue of whether we should have a hybrid system of both the physical and electronic. So it is an issue that they have undergone. It is an issue that they have interacted with, and it is not an issue that they want to go back to. So, well, it may be an issue of both age, but then I want to believe that it is an issue of experience, because like Chinua Achebe says in his book, A Man of the People, it is very easy to convince someone who's been in the house to go out in the rain than someone who's been out there in the rain to go back into the rain. So these guys have been rained on by this very system. So they are a step wiser than any other person who hasn't interacted with the system, and they know that when the electronic, like the discussion that we had in this studio 1 or 2 weeks ago, and we were saying that IEBC itself came out and said that more than 40,000 polling stations have not been connected to the 3G and to the 4G internet. They came out and admitted. Now, what happens in such kind of situations? Probably, let's say there is a failure in the kits. Much as I had the CEO of the IEBC coming out yesterday and saying that in polling stations, for instance, where there were three kits, they have boosted the number of kits to 6 kits. But then it doesn't rule out the fact that there may be a failure of either of the kits, or there may be a failure of the network. Now, what happens in such kind of in such kind of circumstances? So I think for me it is an issue of experience. It may be an issue of age, which is true, because of course the Kenya Kwanza team is a bit young, tech savvy. Yes, but then I want to presume that it is an issue of experience. And the Azmio team has had that experience. They don't want to go back into the rain.
But experience comes with age also.
Definitely, of course.
You see, like in America, when you talk about people like Bill Clinton, they were born into this kind of technology. So much as in they have age, people like Donald Trump, then they've used this technology for quite a long time. It's what they found. So I think for us now to start going there, we must start using this kind of technology, and that is what will build experience now. So that in 2027 now we won't have those problems.
I want to give you an opportunity, but I want us to listen, because I want to ask this question. Is it because the Azimio coalition party candidate, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, said that the day before yesterday, actually, in Kiambu, he said that they might not have election whatsoever if Emmanuel Backup is not there. And I want us to listen to a bite of the Deputy President replying to the same. And then we take it away from there.
The IEBC is an independent institution. The IEBC cannot take instructions from any candidate, and any candidate cannot blackmail or make ultimata to IEBC. If we go that route, we are not going to have any election. Tunaelewana? Kwa hivyo tunawaambia watu wa kitendawili, you are the people who said you wanted an electronic register. In 2017, you went to court so that we can have an electronic register. Now you have changed goalposts. Now you want to tell us you want a manual register. Please make up your mind. IEBC have already set the game for 9th of August. You better arrange yourselves and participate. Sijui kama tunaelewana ndugu zangu. Sasa mimi nataka niwaulize, si hawa watu walituambia wako na deep state? Si walituambia wako na system? Si saa hii wanapiga makelele ati sijui iko shida gani na manual register? Kwani iko lazima mtu mmoja akue kwa hii uchaguzi? Kama kitendawili anaona hana nafasi ya kupita kwa hii uchaguzi, awachane na uchaguzi, wacha Wakenya wengine wapige kura na tuendelee. Ama mnasemaje?
Na wameanza kuogopa kwa sababu wameona hawana watu, wameona hawana kura, na yeye asifikirie ni indispensable kwa kupiga kura. Kama hataki kuja kwa kura, yeye ajiuzulu, tuapishwe kesho, William Ruto achukue serikali.
Yes, before we talk about that, I would like to remind our viewer to weigh in to the conversation this morning by sending your feedback on our Twitter handle, on our Facebook, and of course in our SMS line that is down there on your screen. On Facebook, Muhia wa Kandara town well represented. Who is coming from Kandara here? Wow, okay. So Kandara town well represented. They're watching. Davis the Psalmist, KIRK TV breakfast show. I love it. Michael Njoroge from Nakuru says Nakuru well represented, and Francis is a great leader and fit for Naivasha. Of course, this one of your supporters. Continuing in, of course, and I'll take time to read through them whenever we get an opportunity. But the question I want to ask from the bites that we listen to, of course, we listened to the Right Honorable earlier. And now this is the DP and of course Kiharu MP and Ndindi Nyoro saying that if the Azimio side feel they are not satisfied and they are not ready, they should just, you know, exit the stage, and then the DP and then this side be, you know, declared winners automatically. Is this working, you know, by the virtue that the Azimio side raised this? Is it going to work against them? Is it going to raise an issue of trust from their supporters that I don't feel like we are ready, I don't feel like I have a reason to go and vote if our votes are not going to be taken care of, or if my, you know, my captain feels like things are not okay?
I would say from the both principles, those are dangerous words they are giving our nation, because the moment you give ultimatum to an independent organization like IEBC saying it will not happen, those are words that can fuel a lot of violence and doubt in our mind as a Kenyan people. Then you see the deputy president saying that they are not ready, and he politicized the issue once again and say, then if you're going to give orders, then the election will not happen. You see, they are creating a playground that will bring uncertainty. And once again, there are two leaders, they have been government, they worked together before, for Christ's sake. They should come together and say, this is the problem. I'm not the problem as Deputy President, His Excellency William Ruto. I'm not, and then our beloved Prime Minister, His Excellency Dani Raila, they should come together and say, I'm not the problem, he is not the problem is IEBC. How can we come together? Fine. We have a problem with the register. How can we come together so that we can make sure that there is no issue? Instead of going to the people out there, because once you have a follower, and if I go to my follower and tell them, this person, this is the way he is, this is the way he is. Some people don't have that knowledge of finding out facts. They have their mind and they put their mind in a way that, no, this is criminal, this is not the right way to go, this is whatever the names they are trying to call each other, and it's very unfortunate as a nation of Kenya. We want development, as my friend is saying, we want mature politics of agendas and manifesto to help our people. But the moment this, our leaders, they are trying to show us they can pull this and this way, how can they lead the nation? It's very unfortunate for them to utter such words. Yes.
Do Azimio have a right to say that?
Well, I feel everybody has their right to say whatever they want to say. But as a leader, I think you should be very cautious of what you say. Like I said, in this country, the problem is that it's like we don't have lessons learned meetings, you know, because certain remarks like those ones, you know, can fuel certain things which might not have very good results. And as leaders, I believe you have the people's interest at heart. Then you don't want certain things to happen. And, you know, what fuels such kind of things happening is words. You know, words can, because there are people who really don't understand what is happening. So if you tell them that, then they believe that is what is going to happen, you know. So I think we should be very cautious with what we say, and especially at, you know, volatile times like this. Yeah.
Biko, the Azimio side have been very confident about winning this election, and they say they are going to win with a landslide. Then they come up with this kind of demands to the IEBC, because there's another one that we're going to play that Junet Mohammed, the head of the secretariat of the Azimio, said that a principal from Kenya Kwanza, of course he mentioned him, and let me mention the name because it's in the public domain, Moses Wetangula, is colluding with the IEBC, in ballot paper printing and all that. Is it a feeling that things are not so okay, or they have a right to, because once beaten, twice shy? They went through such an issue in 2017, the election was nullified. Is it a case that they don't want to see this happen again, or is it a feeling they have from their side that things could not be okay?
For me, I look at it from three perspectives. One is one, we must have confidence in the institutions that we have created, and especially the independent institutions that we have created, like the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission. One, we must have confidence in the work that we've given them. That is, having constitution in the confidence in the institutions that we've created. And then two, we need to have confidence in the people that we've tasked with running those institutions. And flowing from that, that is now on one side, because we have created an institution, we have created people to run those institutions, we must have confidence in them. On the other side, if either of the players feel aggrieved by either the conduct of the persons that they've tasked with running those institutions, then it is well within their right to raise a red flag as early as possible. And that is why you are seeing Junet Mohammed coming in to say they are suspecting something. That is why you are seeing generally the Azimio team coming out to say that they want the elections done in a particular way. You remember when we did the election, the presidential election petition in 2017. Yeah. And the then NASA team went to court, and they demanded from the court that servers be opened. And servers were never opened until even until right now. Though the other day I was seeing an interview by Commissioner Nyangaya on TV, and he said that the servers were ultimately opened. But then, as and when the court required that the servers be opened and the details of the servers be provided to court, the servers were never opened, and those servers were digital. What if during that particular time we had a physical register? And because I participated in election petitions in 2017, and when you are dealing with, let's say, an election petition of an MCA, you require that Form 34A or is it 35A be produced in court. Those forms used to be produced in court. Those were the physical registers, right? So if in a presidential election it would have been as easy as producing the physical registers, it wouldn't have been a hard task as producing the digital registers that had been stored with the IEBC. So you may want to understand where Raila Odinga and his team are coming, are coming from. But more importantly, I want to very objectively give my sentiments on the sentiments that have been made by His Excellency William Ruto and even the Kenya Kwanza. Yeah. It is not prudent, it is not wise for both leaders, and especially now that they hold a very central position insofar as these elections are concerned, that they would go out and utter the words that they've uttered, where now His Excellency Raila comes in and says that if 1, 2, 3 is not provided, we are not going to participate in an election. And then Ruto now comes in and says that if they don't want to participate in the election, let them fall by the wayside. We will proceed with the elections, and even proceeding to say that they should be declared as winner. So we need some level of tolerance with our political players, and especially the big two political players insofar as these elections are concerned. We need to have some civility. We need to have people who are talking to, people who are talking to each other. Just like you said, instead of them going to public barazas and rallies and uttering those big words, why can't they, as the big players, why can't they come and sit down and say, we are in this field together? We are the players, the referees, the IEBC. Why can't we approach the IEBC and have a discussion with them and tell them, hey, look here, from experience, digital has failed us before. Or from experience, we need a manual register. Why can't you guys have a manual register? Yeah, just the same way when they go to public rallies and then they are addressing each other in public rallies, and we are like, hey, come here, look here. I even don't have the direct line to the Right Honorable the Prime Minister, but I'm very sure if you picked up your call and called Raila Odinga, he's going to pick up your call. Why can't you just call him and tell him all these sentiments you're telling us in all these public rallies and all that? Yeah. So we need to have, just like I've said, we need to have a bit of civility, especially in our political with our political players. We are going to see temperatures rise as days draw nigh to August 9th. So and as days progress, the temperatures are going to be rising. We need to tell these people what to listen boli, or things are not as bad as they may want they may want things to look.
Yes, anasema tuliza boli uwanja ni mdogo. Of course, I would like to listen to a bite there by Moses Wetangula and Chebukati back to back. But before then, of course, yesterday the Azimio flag bearer Raila Odinga came out and said we are not going to boycott the elections, as written by The Nation in page 4. That boycott elections, never. We are not cowards, vows Azimio. Yesterday when he was campaigning in Kerenyaga, of course, right with his deputy designate, if I may call it, or the running mate of Azimio, Mada Karua. Raila Odinga sensed defeat. This is Ruto. Of course, that's what we've listened to as far as that clip is concerned. But let's listen to Moses Wetangula and Chebukati, because there's been an issue that Moses Wetangula called in the tenderers of the ballot papers. He sent people there to Greece, back and forth. What did he say?
When Weta was with you in 2013, he was a good man. When Weta was with you in 2017, he was a good man. When he's with William Ruto in 2022, he has suddenly become a bad person. He's manipulating IEBC, he's printing ballots. I can tell you, my friend, you can go tell it to the birds. You can go stand on KICC and cry louder. It will not change our resolve to take you home.
About profiling members of the commission, profiling staff, and I also see an attempt by some newspapers to profile me to Moses Wetangula. Now, that is very, very unfortunate, and also those who are making those remarks. He is a Bukusu like me. We were born in Bungoma, and I think that is perhaps the reason for profiling. But as a commission, as the chair of the commission, I've never sat with an individual to discuss procurement, and I think it's very unfortunate that some leaders can stoop so low to try, at this point in time, to try and malign the character of the chair. I want to urge politicians, as you do your campaigns, please focus on talking to the electorate about issues and not attacking the commission, profiling commissioners and profiling the staff.
That is, of course, Ford Kenya party leader Moses Wetangula, who is a principal in Kenya Kwanza Alliance, and of course the chairman of the IEBC, Wafula Chebukati. When you have such allegations, as a politician, you say you have evidence of collusion and all that. What's the best way of handling that?
The best way of handling issues is to separate individual and the issue at hand. Because, for instance, if you are fighting for a piece of for that pen you're holding on your hand, I should not come and say you're a bad man. Let's look at the issue. What are we fighting at? What are you fighting for? Because, as I repeat again, the politics of Kenya and Africa, unfortunately so, is that we politicize issues, or we, if the ABC has issues, you point as the chairman. Instead of looking, what's the issue? Is it the policies? Is it the way things are being handled? Is this the way we are looking at things? So the best way is to look at issues at hand and not at the person, particular person. Because, for instance, you don't say, now that Kenya Kwanza and the other side of the political party, they want different things, and then a process per se, and then you come and say Chebukati is the person who is wrong. Let's look at the issues at hand and not the people. There's character in a person, that if a person acts in a particular manner, we can say that person they have issues with the person. But you cannot say all the time that because of a process flow, then the person is not the person that for the right job. So let's separate issues and the individuals.
But people will always look at the referee, even in a matchup. The match official is in charge of the match, and they have to take authority. And if their allegations come out clear and say no. And I think the issue is about even there's been an issue of even hiring of the electoral officials. There's been an issue around that, and as we talk about transparency, the IEBC. Do you think the IEBC it's precipitating these allegations and these claims, and they have themselves to blame?
Just on the same, just a quick rejoinder on the same. IEBC, I've been as a first-time candidate in the election. I've been working closely to the IEBC. I've been asking questions. And for instance, when they were hiring the returning officers, we were told categorically, just look at the people who are coming for the interviews, because we can question, because IEBC, when Chebukati is in the office in Nairobi, they don't know the person in Naivasha. They don't know the person in Kisumu. So if we see someone that has issues, character issues, moral issues, and we know for a fact that they have been involved in election malpractices, we have to pinpoint, and we have been very critical that we check at the people who are being brought in as returning officers. We have been told to raise flags. The same way we have seen candidates who have been given a green light to run for a political office, but they have been recalled because it has been said, no, this degree, it was wrong. And the IEBC has to go and probe and check with other arm of governments to make sure that these allegations are true or false. So it's upon us as Kenyans to look deeply into such issues. We would not expect a returning officer who is corrupt and who has been in the game for so long, in election malpractice, being employed by IEBC, and we are watching. Later on, we go and blame the chairman. So it starts with us, and it's a mandate that we have given by the IEBC, and we have been checking and making sure such individuals we report on time and we raise alarm. Yes.
What is your take on this? Is the IEBC needs to do things better and come out clear if there are issues and allegations and cases, and come out clear and stake the claim?
Yeah, of course, like I had said, I feel there is a lot that needs to be done on the IEBC side. They need to be more transparent, But then again, I feel like there is a lot of mixing going on as far as issues are concerned. You could have an issue with him, but then again, I don't expect you to give him, for example, he's an advocate. Maybe in this case, let's say you are a judge. I don't expect him to give him a better judgment. Maybe because you guys meet up and have a cup of coffee, later, because I expect you in this case to be very professional. So Wafula should be given that chance to, because I believe he's a very professional guy. So I feel like we are mixing things here, like no, you know, guy A hangs out a lot with guy B, and guy B now is supposed to, you know, decide the outcome of these things. So yeah, you know.
Mm-hmm. What is the best thing, or what legally? What is the best thing that IBC needs to do to, you know, it's only 31 days or so to the elections, to, you know, make this a level field for all, and, you know, make the candidates and those that are vying feel that the IBC is ready and prepared? You know, Vincent, like I told you, we've created institutions that we need to have confidence in them. Those institutions are being manned, or they're being led by persons. But then, just like Julius Caesar's wife Pompeia, when she was suspected to have had an extramarital affair with people outside her marriage, Julius Caesar divorced her, and he divorced her on one very simple reason: that, hey, look here, I am the king and you are my wife. And if there is suspicion that you are having an extramarital affair, I don't need to probe. I don't need to interrogate that you are having that extramarital affair, because Caesar's wife is supposed to be beyond reproach. And on that reason alone, Pompeia was divorced. It is the same thing. We are supposed to be because you see, we are dealing with a very critical issue, that is an election. An election is a determinant of the direction that a country or any jurisdiction or any democracy takes. Because an election is a determination of the will of the people, that will have a bearing on several other things, including, you know, how the country is going to fare economically, how the country is going to fare at the international scene, locally, and, you know, and everything. So we are dealing with a very critical thing that comes after every 5 years, that either of the commissioners or either of the persons that we've tasked with handling that process, that is the election, should not be seen or should not be heard to be intermeddling. And that is why, if there is such kind of an allegation, it is not an allegation that is supposed to, it's not supposed to be an allegation that comes out quite easily from the players, especially. And in the unlikely event that it comes out like it has done, then it is an allegation that has to be taken very seriously. And that is why the IBC chair came out yesterday and said that they have even written to the CID to investigate the matter. Because it is because of the severity of the matter that we are dealing with. It is a very important process that we are going to engage in as Kenyans, and it is not a process that is supposed to be, you just come with allegations today and then you are mud smearing the commissioners or it is an issue that is so important that even in 2017, persons working for the IBC lost their lives. Msando's death has never been, everything around that death has never been revealed to date. It is so important that lives will be lost. So it is not something that you just come up with today and then you say, or you give an allegation that there is, that there is a close dalliance between Commissioner Y and person X. It is not as easy as Junet would want to bring it out. It is not a very simple thing, and the state and the agencies that are responsible ought to take such kind of allegations with the seriousness that it deserves. But then how should politicians handle it? And this is very sensitive information that you have, very sensitive allegations, but you, for lack of a better term, you're spewing them over political rallies and there are agencies that deal with it.
Action needs to be taken. Action needs to be taken. And you see, if Junet Mohammed is allowed to just run with it, some other person will as well come with the same allegations. Now, what happens if today it is Junet Mohammed, tomorrow it is Ashoya, the other day it is my colleague here, and then you cast so much aspersions to the body that you've tasked with carrying out the elections? How then do you even have confidence in the integrity of the results that they're going to produce at the end of the day? How do you even have that kind of confidence? Yes. So it is something that ought to be taken seriously. It is something that needs to be actively investigated. And we need to be given answers, we as Kenyans. Yeah. Yes.
You want to weigh in on that?
I think I'll agree with you. Let's check any allegation, let's investigate, let's be transparent as much as possible, because we are creating a system whereby the next 5 years and the next 10 years, we don't want an election whereby we have to repeat ourselves. And as a nation, Kenya, we are positioned in a very competitive area. We are the hub of East Africa. Come on, we should be leading in the forefront of ensuring that hiyo wakati wa siasa mbaya imepitwa, that the systems and the people are well represented. And also, I think it's time, an advocate, it's time for us now to choose for leaders who tell the people the truth and educate them. And if I can just go back and see, I remember the Huduma issue. People brought a lot of propaganda. And it's for us leaders to show people that those are not travel. Like, in America, there's a social card that gives you everything. If I finish Form 4, I have a birth certificate, I have Form Class 8, it's why? This year we are harmonizing our documents. But you see our leaders, they understand what is happening. But because our followers and Kenyans, we lack that information, they politicize issues and bring agendas that are not even in part of what they're discussing. So I think it's time for us to scrutinize and make sure this time round, as my colleague here is saying, what did you learn from this, and what can we do after, so that we make sure the next coming election, we are going to talk about IEBC. It will be free and fair, whereby you will see someone go and vote, hata shinda kiambia watu wachunge kura, because they know that the systems are good. The systems cannot be compromised.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to read a couple of feedback from our viewers. This is Pastor Caleb Mushindi from Kayole saying, following the program, Kijana Taratibu, nice exchange from all the gentlemen in studio. Hongera sana viongozi. I believe you're also kiongozi. Wanjiru Kabita, we have very serious issues on our values, that we suspect everything and every process and always want to have it all our way at the expense of what is right. May God help this country. Is the viewer true in this, that we have a serious issue on values that we suspect? Is it an issue of values in the society that now elevate to the levels that we can't believe and trust in anything?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I believe change starts with you as an individual. You must change in order to change your environment. You must. It has to start with you. I think that viewer is saying it must start with you for it to be able to change. Good vibes must start generating from you as an individual to be contagious enough to go to other people. Yeah.
What is the purpose now of what's the role of the citizenry in this now, as far as we are in different political divides and we have an allegiance towards a certain person, but what is our role in ensuring that as much as the leaders will come and say this and this, but we have an election to exercise civic right and elect the leaders that we feel are good enough for us?
You want me to weigh in? For me, I would, you see, in society we have different, we've been brought up differently. In society, we've grown up differently from various regions, and we may espouse different values as persons. But then at the end of the day, what I would want to call of us as citizens is for us to be very objective, especially in selecting the leaders that have presented ourselves. You see, at the end of the day, we we are stuck with, like in the current situation, we are stuck with 4 presidential candidates. It is either you are choosing for, you are either going for a Jakoya or, so we've been straitjacketed to 4 options insofar as the president is concerned. So the only question that we ask ourselves as citizens is which of these 4 persons, probably they may be having their own imperfections, they may be having their own, their own strengths. And then we want to look at the imperfections that they have and and the strengths that they espouse. Which one is, if I would use the words of, which one is which one is a better devil that you want to, that you want to run away with? So we need to be objective. I'm very sure that today, if you did a random, if today you did a random interview outside our stations here, and asked Kenyans, what do you remember of the Right Honorable Raila's of his manifesto? I'm very sure probably the only thing that, because it has been said so many times, is the 6,000 shillings, which of course may not even be found in his manifesto, and Babacare. You see? And if you ask them, what do you remember of Ruto's manifesto? Probably they may not tell you what they remember of.
Bottom up.
Yes, probably bottom up, because it's been said so many times. And then, if you ask them, what about Wajakoya? They will tell you about marijuana and snake poison and all that. Yes. But have they interrogated those manifestos to make an informed choice? Yes. They absolutely haven't. When it comes to this other presidential candidate, I can't remember his name. Is it Paul or? No,
it's David Mora.
David Mora.
Yeah.
If you asked Kenyans what, if they know even just one principle of their manifesto, probably no one knows of what David presented. Yeah. So because we haven't been very keen in following the manifestos, because we know that at the end of the day, it is not what is in the manifesto that is going to determine the political direction that they are going to take as Kenyans. So are we mature enough as a citizen to interrogate the values of the leaders that we want to elect? Are we mature enough to interrogate the manifesto, that they wish to implement when they get into those positions? Actually, the answer to that is no, because you would find that 40% of the Kenyans, or even 50% of the Kenyans that are going to vote in these coming elections, will vote because Honorable or His Excellency Ruto comes from my region. They are going to vote maybe because they like the bottom-up approach, or they're going to vote because of the intergenerational, difference that is there between Raila and Ruto. Right? Mm-hmm. There are some people who are going to vote in these elections, and I know of colleagues of mine who are going to vote in these elections, and especially they are going to vote for Azimio because there is a woman in the Azimio camp as a running mate. Because of that gender card, I have some of my colleagues who registered to vote just because of that. Mm-hmm. So there are various reasons for why people are going to vote for the different political divides. And in all the reasons, the only thing that I want to urge Kenyans is that let us be objective, because the decisions that we are going to make right now are decisions that we are going to live with for the next 5 years.
5 years. Yes. Fortunately or unfortunately?
Fortunately.
We are going to live with that for the next. So we must be very careful on our decisions. Yes. But again, you talk about maturity of the voter, and you say that there's an issue you raised that people don't vote for manifestos. They vote for the personalities behind the manifesto, and for other reasons that we may not want to discuss on national
TV.
Yeah. But do you feel it's our leaders who have made us think this way? Because we've elected leaders with very good manifestos, but when they get into the positions, they do zero of what they promised us. Is it an issue of bad leadership from the word go? Because I, as a citizen, I'll vote for you if I believe that you are good enough to deliver on the manifesto. If you're not good enough, then I rather vote for my, mtu wa kwetu, because I don't trust you to even, implement your manifesto? Is it an issue of leadership that has been in the perennial, bad leadership that we've had in the country?
I think it's a question of bad leadership because even us when we are doing our campaigns, you find some people, they are very disappointed. They're like, you want us, don't give us our manifesto. Just tell us that you want us to help you to get to the office so that you can rob like the rest of the guys. And whereas you really want to come up with something that can really help people. So I think it's a question of bad leadership, first of all, which has, because it's been happening a lot of time, and that has resulted to people losing confidence in the system. Now that has now come down to when you're going to campaign, people are telling you, give us money, because we will vote for you. We don't even want to hear about your manifesto. You'll go and do things like the rest of the guys. So I think we need to create confidence as leaders in our voters, where maybe if you have a manifesto, you have like 10 things. Can you just try to achieve? That's like 100%. Can you try to achieve 2 things? 20%. Maybe the guy who comes after that can try, and improve on that. Like I told you, I've realized we have a very bad culture. Where we don't learn anything, from previous generations. You see, like, unfortunately, Mzee Kibaki, it came to a time I remember people were saying, why did this guy go? Why don't he just, come back and, get us places? Because at that point, people felt like the country was moving. So I think we, as leaders, now, that's the thing about being in position of leadership. You have the ability, and you're in a position of power to influence what happens below you. So if you have bad energy and you are stealing resources, then that trickles down as negative energy. But if you start doing things, like if the Kibana was doing in Makueni, bringing medical cards, those small steps, I think would change the perspective and our school of thought. Yeah.
Because I want now to bring you in to your grassroots levels, where I know you do best. From what you're talking about bad leadership that has been perennial through the years. What are you going to do different, or what are you doing differently as a candidate for that position of the Naivasha MP, so that now we face out this mentality of Kenyans? You've had your colleague here, Bwana Tom, say that people say, usituambie mambo mengi ya manifesto, wewe sema unataka kura, upande uko juu kule. You see, what are you doing differently so that you face out this, mentality?
Yeah, I think it's a grave concern with the mentality of Kenyans, because most of them, when you call them for a meeting or you're asking to just tell your agenda, the first question they ask you, ikopi pesa? We don't want you to sell us your idea so much, because hata ukiingia, you will never come back. I think it's time for us to realize that time has come for us to, because the election, the position that I'm asking for the people of Naivasha to give me is not for me to be their boss. It's for me to represent them in parliament and to bring development in my constituency. And if you look at it, what I'm doing differently, as I'm saying as Tom is saying, I'm telling the people of Naivasha, I'm not coming to give you handouts, because what happens, and it's a very simple calculation, the moment I give you 5,000 shillings for you to give me my vote, I know the economy is tough, things are really thick, and when you come and sell ideas on a manifesto, some of them are not willing to listen. But I'm doing a lot of civic education, and I've reached quite a lot of people in Naivasha constituency, and I believe they will give me they will elect me as their next member of parliament, because I do a very simple calculation. If I have to give you 5,000 shillings for you to vote for me, that's, if you, in a year, that's a year has 365 days, and in 5 years you're looking around 1,825 days. If I do my calculation very easily, 5,000 you divide by 1825, I'm giving you 2 shillings and 70 cents a day for the next 5 years. What happened to that when I get to the office? I'm going to get it back. As they say in French, that's French if you understand French. It means you are going to get back what you used. And it's becoming more clear and more clear to the people when they do their calculation. Once I give you the 2 shillings 70 cents, which was 5,000 shillings at that time, was giving you the 5,000 shillings. You ask yourself, what happens? Because Waishimiwa, even my constituency where I come from, the member of parliament has been there, I don't know for how many years, and there's no real development that has been brought. So it's a matter of telling them, you are voting me, you are giving me this job so I can represent you. And that's why you see in Kenyan culture, you cannot see someone, the citizen, approaching or confronting their leaders and asking for the change that they promised. Because once they'll look you in the face, and I've seen even in part of the country, they'll look in the face, they say, I bought your votes. So it's time, what I'm doing differently, I'm showing the people of Naivasha and at large that you can elect leaders who have the best interests at heart and ask questions. Because, and I'm glad that we have a generation of, a new generation, they're asking questions. You don't tell them you're going to bring them jobs. They're asking you how. You see, and it's time for us to differentiate a leader and a politician. I'm bringing leadership into politics. As my friend Tom is here, and you can hear, listen to the people, listen to their manifesto, ask them how they want to achieve. And let's ask ourselves questions. You cannot do, there's a saying, because it says, you cannot keep on doing the same thing the same way and expect different results. And it's time for us, and as you can see, you mentioned Mr. Kibaki, when he started his term, people were saying, no, he was called general, names are unspeakable names. And once people, when he got into office, he was quiet and he did his job. And we came to miss him a lot. So what I'm doing different in Naivasha constituency, and if you look at the problems of Naivasha constituency, since I was born and raised there, went to school there, and actually I was a boda rider. The pioneers of boda. When it started with a guy called Fire Maris, I was like the fifth or the sixth person to acquire boda. And for the passion of being different. And I remember, you can identify somebody from Naivasha because of their teeth. Okay? No leader has ever come and said, this is what we are going to do. I've been talking with the county commissioner. I've been talking with the police. How do we ensure, if you say that you cannot employ a police officer all the armed because of their teeth, let me go to table in parliament, let me table a motion saying that even teeth, having brown teeth is a disability. Then how do you deal with the disability, or that disability, so that our people can get such development? Look at Naivasha, it's been a very dusty town. No parliamentarian or even any leader has ever come and said, no, we have resources in Naivasha. So what I'm doing different is, I'm opening the eyes of my people and telling them, guys, our constituency is a very rich constituency. And if you do your research, Naivasha gives the biggest GDP for Nakuru County. We have flower farms, right? We have resources like rocks and soil. We have fish. It's a rich constituency. And for the longest time, Naivasha has been known for Safari and the likes of Happy, Dunda. They say Dunda, they should call it Dunda. Vasha, they call it Vasha. Yes, but I want to make sure any Vasha resident, they become proud of living in Vasha. If you check history, Naivasha is a wildlife corridor. Meaning there's animals. If you go to Naivasha Highway right now at maybe 11, 12 o'clock, you find buffaloes on the road now. Why don't we table in parliament or whatever way that we are going to work with the county government, with the national government? Let's make sure, for instance, I don't have to come all the way from Nakuru to come to Nairobi National Park. We have animals there. Let's bring breeds there. We have a very big land, is Kenya Wildlife Services. Let's bring those. We lack leaders who bring those kind of development. But I'm opening the eyes of the people of Naivasha, telling them, no, the moment I give you a handout, I'll repeat, I'm going to put my money back in the pocket, and you will never see development.
So you are not doing handouts?
Yes, but for me, Vincent, I think I would want to blame the politicians on this. Because you see, it is a culture that we've had as a country for a very long time, and this culture has been propagated by mainly politicians. And that is why you would realize that over time, it's something that we've been battling with as a nation for the last 60 years, ever since we got independence. If our political leaders would educate the electorate, for the electorate to understand what their roles are, then it would be very important. Because you see, like Tom and my good friend Francis, they are getting into. He's getting into parliament. He wants to get into the county assembly. Their roles very, at a very basic level is threefold: representation, legislation, and oversight. In these three roles that that my colleagues here will get to represent the people that they wish to represent, unlike right now, initially they did not have a kitty for development. Their development as leaders for the positions that we have elected them is insofar as agitating to ensure that there is development in their constituencies. So if we as Kenyans would have understood the roles of the leaders that we elect into these offices, it would even be very helpful. Because then if he's going to use, I have a very close friend of mine who is my cousin brother, who is running for member of county assembly. In the nominations alone, he used 13.5 million. This is a member of county assembly, 13.5 million. We are getting into an election. In the next 30 days, probably he's planning to use another 5 million. That comes to around 18, 20 million. How does he recover? And the salary for a member of county assembly is around 120,000, and then of course plus the allowances and all that, it comes to around probably 150, 180. Where does he get all those monies? To recover 20 million that he used in the campaigns. And that is why he says that most members of parliament or members of county assembly, when they ultimately get into that seat, their task number one is to recover fast. So much as we are going to have very good representation from their side, much as we are going to have very good oversight, much as we are going to have a very good legislator in the members of parliament or members of county assembly that we elect, but then at the end of the day, they get monies. And I'm not saying that they are being given monies to go and because I know even right now, members of county assembly are really struggling to ensure that they're given the ward development funds to go and develop their wards. So much as they are struggling to get the ward development funds from their respective governors, at the end of the day, it is not their responsibility to ensure that it is their responsibility to ensure that there is development in the ward, but then they don't have the resources. Members of parliament agitated, and ultimately they were given the constituency development fund, so that they can endear themselves to the electorate and tell them, hey, look here, I was given 140 million for this financial year, and I have built a TTI somewhere, I've built a classroom somewhere, and all that. But then it is a culture that we have had as citizens for a very long time, to expect that we will get tangibles. That is what they want. We've had people who've been very good debaters in parliament. But much as they've been very good debaters in parliament, when they go back for re-election, people will tell them, boss, wewe umekuwa Nairobi, hakuna chenye umekuwa ukifanya, hatujakuona kwa ground. Hatujakuona kwa ground because you have not disbursed bursaries like the member of parliament.
You've not attended funerals.
You've not attended funerals. You've not been attending weddings. You've not been attending baby showers. You've not been attending all those ones. You've not been giving us money. So, and that is why you'll find some members of parliament, they will tell you, boss, kwa bunge hakuna kura yangu iko mashinani. So once they are elected, you'll never see them in parliament.
You don't even hear them.
You won't even hear them in parliament because they are telling you, boss, hakuna kura kwa bunge, wacha mimi nikae na watu wangu hapa hivi. So we must get, we as citizens, we must get that balance. What is the role of the people that we are electing into offices? What do we expect of them? Right?
Yeah.
And I want to concur with the sentiments of my brother Francis here. It's a very tricky balance. He is talking about, and you see the 5,000 that he talked about is for only one person. He is only given 5,000 to one person. And he may have given 5,000 to so many other persons. So if they are going to be, if he's going to be elected by 1,000 people, and for these 1,000 people he's been giving each one of them two shillings per day, that means that he's expending 20,000 shillings per day for these people. And he has to recover that money.
What are you doing to even as we talk about that, what are you doing to educate? What civic education are you doing as a leader that you want people to elect you? How are you educating them that it's not about what I give you now, but what I want to do for you in the next 5 years in terms of legislation, representation, and even oversight?
Yeah, I believe most of us here, I don't know, I've not asked, but I'm assuming we grew up in the village. Yeah? Do you know those seasonal rivers that comes only in particular times of the year? Now, politicians have been treated like those rivers. And now there is an African proverb that says that you only fetch water from the river when it's flowing. Now, people right now feel it's their opportunity to fetch the waters from the river because it's flowing. Because they believe the river is only seasonal and it comes back after 5 years, you know. So we are having a hard time, like he's saying, especially for those who've not been in politics before, like myself. Yeah. So what I've been doing differently is to make people feel I'm not a seasonal leader. I'll be here for the next 5 years. And there is another issue he raised about, this thing about leadership. For us to be able to change this culture that is there, I feel a person needs to be more in touch with the people. And the reason I say this, for example, members of the county assembly, most of the week you're not in the county assembly. So for that week when you're not there, I feel you should be with the people, you know. You realize when you're with people, most of them don't even need those handouts if you're there as a leader most of the time with them. I think it creates that illusion, let me say it like that, of hope, you know, because they feel, there is another African saying that says that he who sits at the bottom of the tree is who he knows what is happening at the tree. I mean, whichever animals are at the tree, which fruits they are eating. So they feel that if you're there, then you connect more with them. So one of the things I've done, I'm trying to identify with the people. Myself, I was helped, just a small background check. I was helped by a person because when I finished college, I did not get a job. So somebody gave me an idea of how I could get a job outside the country. Right now, we don't have employment in our country. Our region, we can say is the countryside, but it's so cosmopolitan. It looks like Nairobi. You see, you got homesteads, they're full of houses and things like that. They don't have land to farm. So how do you help these people? We don't have industries in the region. We don't have we don't have industries.
That is from Gedunguri.
Yeah, sure. And there is limited space of land. So the only thing we can do is what was done in a country like China, export labor, let these people go learn new tech and things like that. When they come back with this kind of knowledge, then we'll be able to grow the region. So I'm really trying to make people understand that the only thing we can grow, like he said, it would be very hard in these coming budget years to get that word development fund. You might not be given, but you as a leader, you know, you should take it upon yourself as a leader. That's why it's not politician, it's leader. You should take it upon yourself to know, to come up with such a good blueprint that will be able to get your people from one point to another point. That way they will feel progress and they will not hammer you very much. And that's why maybe because Kibaki came in from when people had lost hope, you know, there was nothing. Then suddenly we have smartphones, electricity is coming to our homes, you know, that created hope. Whatever kind of leaders we are having right now, they are not creating hope amongst, you know, the voters. And that's why maybe people right now, they realize the river is seasonal. So we need something to make out of it. Fetch. Yeah, we need to fetch, you know.
All right.
But just before, is it really seasonal? Because, you know me, I've interacted with politicians.
Yeah. You are a politician yourself, only that you are the high.
And I can tell you one thing for a fact. Yeah. These people will continue milking you even after you are in the office. Yeah. You see the 5,000 that you guys are talking about as of right now when you are campaigning. And I'm praying that you guys become successful in your political endeavors. I can tell you that apart from Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, when you will be required to be in your respective assemblies. On Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Mondays, when you are back in the village, they will still knock at your doors. Because I know of politicians and of people who wake up early in the morning at 3 in the morning and they're in politicians' gates and doors. And they camp there the whole day, and they will come there and take breakfast, and they'll come there and take lunch, and they'll come there and take dinner, and they will want you to give them fare to go back to their places. So it is not something that is that is seasonal per se.
But you have to be ready.
Yeah.
You have to
be ready. And I believe it's something which can be done, because I've seen somebody, there's a friend of mine who is a member of county assembly somewhere. When, for example, you are guys with my age, yeah, and you're there with them, you know, you can start something like cottages, you know, these home-based industries, you know, things like those. You don't have to start many, you just have to start one and make sure that you're there, you know. Let's say maybe you get soles of shoes from a place like China, and there is a lot of leather in Africa right now, which is being thrown around because the tanning industry, maybe the one in Thika, was closed, you know. When you are there with them, do whatever they are doing, cut leather with them. I'm telling you, people right now need a point of reference in as far as hope is concerned. And if you give them that hope, then you will see, you will be surprised how the culture can shift. Like it shifted from the Moi to the Kibaki era. People can shift. That guy never even attended any harambes or no handouts, nothing. He was in touch with the people, connected with the people. So I believe it's something which can be done, because I have seen somebody do it. Just be there with the people. Start something for them. They will be like, we've never even had somebody that we see regularly here.
And I agree. And the ground is shifting, my brother. As I'm saying, the moment you show the people the calculation I've just shown you, some of them, they are so disgusted by the money they're being given. So the culture has shifted. We are going to show people now, not giving them the fish, we are going to show them how to fish, as my brother is saying. We are going to do value addition. For instance, in my case, on my manifesto, I'm doing value addition for the fish mongers in Naivasha. You know, I can have a factory in Naivasha for the fish monger who supply Naivas, for instance, fillet. They add value to the fish. Something like that. So I believe people are changing. They are changing their way of doing things, and we are going to it's going to be different. And my brother, and the more you show them the way, you for instance, is the CDF allocation of bursaries. You are there in the office. They already know. He already doesn't give out handout, but he's going to bring development, and that mentality, and that's what we need to do back, my brothers, so that we can make our country a developed country, and we stop using politics to essentially, instead of just developing, we are raising politicians. And if you look at the number of candidates right now, aspirants, we call them aspirants before nomination, it was so high. Why? Because somebody wants to be a member of parliament, somebody wants to be an MCA, somebody wants to be a governor, because of the amount of money that the person is getting. So what we need to do is
I'm Celestine Kemunto. I'm taking a bachelor's in business information technology. I chose ZTech because, first of all, ZTech has been ranked among the best in ICT, and I thought it will be best. It will be best for my course. First of all, there are so many ICT labs in ZTech University, which enables students, mostly those who are pursuing IT courses, to get to know more about their courses, of which the labs have so many computers which have Ethernet, which is easier for them to browse. If I were given a chance to choose another university, I'll definitely choose ZTech University.
Apply today. ZTech University. Invent your future.
Thika Motor Dealers, the #1 dealer for Isuzu brand motor vehicles, in conjunction with Family Bank, now have a mouth-watering deal for PCEA churches and their sponsored schools. Thika Motor Dealers are now offering up to 100% financing for buses ranging from the 25-seater, 33-seater, 46-seater, and 67-seater. For more information, visit TMD dealer shops in Thika, Ruaka, Karatina, Athi River, and Machakos, or even call us on 0800 720 797.
Thika Motor Dealers, your trusted logistics partner.
There There are common questions about tithing, such as, must I write my name on the tithe envelope? Is tithe 10% of gross or net? Must tithe be brought to church or be given to the needy? Should my pastor know about my tithing records? How frequently should I tithe? Is it right for man and wife to tithe in one envelope? Should our children give offering? And must I tithe from a loan? Find all these answers in the book, The Tithe Weapon in Spiritual Warfare by Elder Njenga. This book is available at the PCA Bookshop South in Nairobi. Come get one and learn more about tithing. We want to apologize first for the abrupt break that we took, but we are back on air. And Reri, you were saying something very important about the value addition from for the people, especially the fishmongers in your constituency.
Yes, if you it was we were talking about the point of us as leaders, and I would say as leaders, because I believe now this time around people are going to be voting for leaders as opposed to voting for politicians. So let's give them something, hope, and actually actualize it and see. For instance, if that hope of fishmonger in Naivasha, he's got maybe 5. Like I was talking to, I've been talking on the ground to so many of them. You find that he's got 5 children that's bringing up with the trade, and because there are no jobs, you find out the son or the daughter, once they are 18 years, they still come back to their trade and sell fish. So we need to bring value addition, and as a case of saying like selling fillet, we know that skin, the fish skin, it's used to manufacture something. So let's do value addition. Let's be with the people, and once the moment we show the people, because I have a lot of followers, they're saying, "Oh, Francis, it's your vote." It's your vote, because they don't expect me every time I give them a handout. And that's the culture we want to stop and show them that, the moment you elect a leader, it's not about handouts, because once you give you money, they have to go and recover their money. Because you'll ask yourself, if I'm going to spend 40 or 50 million or 70 million to ask for a job, my first thing will be going to get my money back. And that's why you see a lot of money for the CDA, for instance, on my case, is being returned back to the government, because that person didn't have enough time to create and see what the problem is. He was busy trying to look for loopholes in bringing their money back. And I believe and I pray that Kenyans, we are woke. We stay woke and make sure we open our eyes and make sure that we are going to elect leaders and not politicians, or we bring leadership into politics, and not politicizing each and everything. So that, come on, Kenya is a great country. We have a lot of resources. We ought to be the top. We have to be competing with countries like South Africa. The moment you elect a leader, for instance, I don't know if it happens to your case. You find your constituency, all year after the election, there are no developments. But the final year, that's when you hear about bursaries. The final year, that's when you see those being demolished and the classes being painted. It's time for us as Kenyans to open our eyes and see who is going to bring us leadership and development for the sake of our generation, and as opposed to our pockets and pockets. Yes.
Sure. I think that's a good juncture to bring in the Kenyan perspective. What do they say about leadership out there?
Watu hata wakiamua sisi wenyewe tuwachague, already wanajua nani mshindi. So they know what they want. Even if we are going to nini kwa kuchaguana, washajua wenyewe. So sisi hatuna say kwa hiyo maneno. Hii serikali ya Kenya manze inatufinya sana by the way. Tunafaa kwenda kwa debe, tuchaguane, tuone nani amekuwa mshindi. Kwa sababu hata sisi tuko na choice. Hawafai kutuchagulia kwa sababu already wametufinya zaidi. Wanafaa kutuacha sisi tumekaa choice, tulie kwa choice yetu.
No, mimi nasema mimi ni mtu wa Raila. Lakini siwezi sema Raila na Uhuru anaweza tuamulia kiongozi. Ni wananchi wenyewe wanaamua. Waachane na wananchi wenyewe waamue ni nani wanataka. si wewe unataka huyu anataka huyu. Hapana, waachane mwananchi mwenyewe amue. Sori kama ya Mathare, waachane na Bahati na Oluoch wasimame, mwenye atachaguliwa ndiye atakuwa mbunge. Waachane watu wote wasimame. Waachane Anthony Oluoch na Bahati wang'ang'ane kwa debe. Wananchi wenyewe ndio wataamua. Kiongozi ni wananchi, sisi wenyewe tunachagua, si tupewe. Unajui mtu ametolewa wapi, nyinyi mnatupea, unasema ni mzuri kwenu, lakini kwetu lazima pia watu angalie. Sisi wenyewe ndio tunaamua.
Kwangu zoning hapana.
Kwa nini?
Kwa sababu Mkenya anafaenda kwa debe amchague mwenye anamtaka. Kesho yake asianze kulalamika sijui huko hakujafanyika ni kwenye fanyika, ndio ajue peke yake mtu mwenye alimchagua alifanya venye alitaka, ama ni kama kuna mpango yao. Lazima kila mtu aende kwa debe amchague mwenye anamtaka. Bahati si lazima atolewe ti Oluoch asimame peke yake. Bahati lazima naye asimame.
Now, those are Kenyans talking about leadership, and of course, as we were talking about, it's for them to make choices and make informed decisions, not to be pressed upon, not to be, colluded and all that. I think we've talked about mostly what a leader should be, and we want to use you as examples, even as you go out there. It's a turn, it's an opportunity you have to ensure that you help us transform the leadership in this country, and it can only begin with you going forward. So I'd like to give you a short, a minute or so for you to give your short closing remarks. You're gonna see. Call this to a close and invite another session that is coming up. Of course, the entertainment segment is coming up shortly. But before that, Bwana Ireri, unasema nini watu kule kwa ground Naivasha?
Mimi naambia watu wakazi wa Naivasha kwa majina kamili, ile itakuwa kwa ballot ni Francis Ireri Nyaga, na wania kiti cha ubunge wa Naivasha na chama tikiti ya National Vision Party. National Vision Party ni chama namba 2, party number 2 in Kenya, is a very old party, and we decided not to go with any coalition, to have any pre-election coalition. And by the way, I was elected as a deputy secretary general of the party within 3 months of joining politics, because we need to really pump in new ideas and into politics, and to bring leadership into politics. And I can assure you, watu wa Naivasha, ni wakati kwa kupe kura mtu ambaye anajua shida za Naivasha, mtu ambaye atawaletea maendeleo, so that we can change our constituencies together. And under my leadership, Naivasha will never be the same. Mkaaji wa Naivasha, kuzaliwa, kulelewa, anajua shida za Naivasha. You have grown from a motorbike rider. He knows the problems of Naivasha. And I promise you, in the next, by the 5 years term, Naivasha will never be the same under my leadership. Asanteni sana.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Bwana Ireri. What about you, Bwana Tom? Watu wa Ikino. Unawaambia nini?
Kwanza ningetaka kushukuru sababu ya nafasi ambayo umenipatia KIRK TV. Ni mara yangu ya kwanza kuongea National TV.
Yes,
kwa nashukuru sana. Kwa kaji wa Ikino, let's not lose hope. Yani tusije tukawa hatuna imani tena. There is a lot of good things which can happen. Long as you are still breathing, good things can happen. Nimekuwa nikiongea na nyinyi nikiwaeleza mambo ambazo nimekuwa nikifanya za kusaidia watoto wale ambao hawana uwezo, watoto pia mayatima, ni mambo ambayo mnayajua. Kwa mkinipatia nafasi hii, nitaweza kuleta maendeleo mazuri kama nilivyoahidi pale mbeleni, cottages, viwanda vya nyumbani, na kuwasaidia watoto kupata ajira ili tuweze kupigana na hali ambayo inatukumba kwa sasa hivi. So don't lose hope, give me a chance and you'll be very proud. Asante sana.
All the best.
Yeah.
But Biko,
yes.
Just close for us, even as you tell us what is what the ruling of the court the other day on the independent candidates, those that wanted to vie for presidency and they were put aside because of issues to do with register signatures and all that by the ABC. The High Court ruled the other day, and they seem to be happy.
Vincent, there is a discussion that requires like 30 minutes of our time.
Yes, use 30 seconds.
Yes.
Then we'll continue next week.
I know they are going to be political. I know they are going to be legal. It has legal implications. Yes. That particular regulation was said to be unconstitutional. Insofar as the inclusion of the candidates that were locked out is concerned, the court was mum on it. It never gave directions on the same. And I'm very sure my good friend Ekuru, our court is will be going back to court because of that particular provision. So we are going to see we are either today or first thing on Monday morning. You are going to see a petition from the parties who are disenfranchised by that particular regulation, seeking to get a court's interpretation as to whether they should be included or not. So it's something that it's a legal political battle that we're going to see in the next few days.
But can we sit pretty sure that we're going to have election no matter what?
No, we're going to have elections. That is, it is very clear in the law that a constitutional timeline cannot be interfered with. A constitutional timeline cannot be interfered with. It is provided for in the constitution that we are going to have elections on the second Tuesday of August of every after 5 years. We are going to have elections. I want to assure Kenyans that we are going to have elections come 9th of August. Though we are going to have a lot of political, even if it means that ballot papers will be printed on 8th. And then we go to an election on 9th. We are going to have an election on 9th.
That is it. We are going to have elections on 9th. That is 31 days from today. Of course, the politicians will be hovering around the villages, around your vicinities, asking for your vote. But we said you are the one who is going to make that decision. You're going to choose a leader who is going to, represent you and do what you think needs to be done for you and for the generation to come. My name is Vincent Kerosi. Thank you very much, guys, for being a part of this morning panel. We thank you, viewer, for your feedback. Thank you very much for being with us in the whole show. We want to call this show to an end, even as we welcome the next segment of entertainment. Mtumishi, a mass comedian, of course, and gospel artist coming up shortly. You don't want to miss that session.
My name is Moaz Jamal. I'm the Managing Director of Associated Motors Limited. Associated Motors introduced the Isuzu brand of commercial vehicles into Kenya a little over 55 years ago. We've been with Family Bank a little over a year now. We've had a very good experience. There's always interaction between ourselves and the team at Family Bank. They've worked with us very much as part of the AM family. As a partner, they've always wanted to understand our business. In many ways, the name of the bank reflects what they do.
Our customers are family, and we want you to know that you can always bank on family.
Are you ready for Israel? PCEA head office is pleased to inform all presbyteries, parishes, churches, congregations and friends of our PCEA annual trip to Israel. The 10-day trip to the Holy Land will happen this September from the 18th to 27th, 2022. The trip to Israel through Egypt will include visit sites like the pyramids, Mara, the Hanging Church, the Burning Bush, Mount Sinai, and then to Israel through the Suez Canal. That will include visits to the Dead Sea, Kibbutz, the Menja, the Temptation Mount, Gethsemane, Old Jerusalem, Caesarea Park, St. Peter's in Galligantu, Emmaus, Capernaum, Jordan River, Galilee, among others. We would love to have you join us on this annual trip to Israel. For bookings, contact Rose on 0721 511 524 or 0721 511 524.
PCA Ongata Booth Girls High School of Excellence is a modern private girls boarding school offering the 844 curriculum. Our vision is to provide an education that focuses on the holistic growth and development of each learner who will be readily admitted to world-class institutions of higher learning, graduating into exceptional students of integrity.
Our school will not only offer academics, but we also have extracurricular activities. For example, we have swimming pool, and it's not only a swimming pool, but it is an Olympic standard swimming pool whereby our students are able to feed their mind and build their mind.
We take care of our girls spiritually. We have a church just across here where they worship every Sunday, and in between the week we have a very, very strong Christian union. We really encourage you to bring your children here that they may get the experience of learning in a Christian environment.
We also have teachers who are well skilled and trained and also friendly. They teach us to be disciplined, which goes hand in hand with academics. PC Ongata Booth Girls High School of Excellence is the place to be.
Our school is founded on Christian background, and we are surely assuring you that when you bring your girl, you will not regret.
We have vacancies in Form 1 and 2 available for application. You can apply now.
There's a secret in a delicious gluten-free dip. Golden Chef has the most tasty dip which comes in different flavors. Sweet and sour chili dip, barbecue chili dip, sweet and sour dip, and the barbecue dip just packed for you. We shall deliver wherever you are. They are also available at selected Chandarana Food Plus outlets in Nairobi, Naivasha, Nakuru, and Nyali. Golden Chef also offers catering services and cookie lessons. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Golden Chef Kenya. Find us on our socials, Facebook at Golden Chef Kenya, Instagram Golden Chef_KE, or get in touch with us 0739 703 287 or 0706 648 098 for more information.
There are common questions about tithing, such as, must I write my name on the tithe envelope? Is tithe 10% of gross or net? Must tithe be brought to church or be given to the needy? Should my pastor know about my tithing records? How frequently should I tithe? Is it right for man and wife to tithe in one envelope? Should our children give offering? And must I tithe from a loan? Find all these answers in the book, The Tithe Weapon in Spiritual Warfare by Elder Njenga. This book is available at the PCA Bookshop South in Nairobi. Come get one and learn more about tithing.
Greetings from KIRK TV, and praise be to God. We thank God for how far He has brought us this year. Let's continue reflecting on our lives and to follow Jesus anew. KIRK TV, in partnership with the session and the fraternity of PCEA Umoja Parish, Nairobi East Presbytery, welcomes you to join us for an amazing service this Sunday, 10th July 2022. The service will be hosted and led by Reverend Felix G. Mureithi, the parish minister.
Don't do things that are contrary to God's will. Do things that are with accordance with the will of God.
Join us as we reflect on the theme, Enlarge Your Meeting Place, from Isaiah 54 verse 2. Tune into KIRK TV on Signet, KIRK TV Kenya on Facebook and YouTube to fellowship with us.
Are you ready for Israel? PCEA head office is pleased to inform all presbyteries, parishes, churches, congregations and friends of our PCEA annual trip to Israel. The 10-day trip to the Holy Land will happen this September from the 18th to 27th, 2022. The trip to Israel through Egypt will include visit sites like the pyramids, Mara, the Hanging Church, the Burning Bush, Mount Sinai, and then to Israel through the Suez Canal. That will include visits to the Dead Sea, Kibbutz, the Menja, the Temptation Mount, Gethsemane, Old Jerusalem, Caesarea Park, St. Peter's in Galligantu, Emmaus, Capernaum, Jordan River, Galilee, among others. We would love to have you join us on this annual trip to Israel. For bookings, contact Rose on 0721 511 524 or 0721 511 524.
We are back, and of course it is the entertainment segment, na ndani ya studio wameshuka jamaa wa makala wamejaa kabisa hapa na kwenda kwa jina la mtumishi. Mtumishi
mchungaji.
The last time ulikuwa hapa unajua the last time ulikuwa hapa ulikuwa umenaona kidogo, kwani maisha imekuchapa aje? Naona umekuja kama
kwa hiyo uko serious na hiyo kitu unasema
ni kwani nadanganya?
Ni uchumi bwana.
unga ni so mbili bwana.
Sasa unafikiria unga ikipanda una expect ni nini aje?
Lakini usiambiwe acha kula unga ukule mrenda
na kula
ukule hizo vitu
mahindi.
Angalau kuku apate maisha ya kuishi pia.
Kama unga ni 200 sijui juzi nunua.
Kama unga ni 220 ama 250 bro, Piriton ni 10 bob. Kula pesa dawa wewe ulala.
Kuna ujinga.
Mask comedian.
Yes sir. Poa sana.
Wewe pia niliona wewe unatuuzia ile the cheapest fuel in town. Bado unauza?
Bado nauza. Mafuta sasa hii mimi kwanza ni kwa economy nimepandilia.
Kwa wapi? Niliacha ukiuza 50 bob.
Sasa hii ni 70 bob.
70. Mafuta gani hiyo?
Ya raha. Unaweza pika nayo, unaweza hata weka kwa gari.
Ni mafuta kila kitu.
Ni mafuta kila kitu. Hadi mpaka nimesikia wengine siku hizi unanunua mafuta ya taa unaweka kwa koroboi na stove. Sasa wewe kwa nyumba uko na electricity.
Electronic kama electricity.
Ni gani inawaka mara?
Bora awacha tutumie bora electric hapo.
Bora umeona mwangaza.
Mtumishi.
Oh yes.
Sasa unasemaje bwana kuhusu maisha? Maisha si mazuri sana, maisha si magumu hapo. Mpaka mchungaji siku hizi amtembei na yeye kwa sababu unajua mlikuwa mnaenda hoteli, mchana mnatumia 70. Sasa hiyo unataka kupunguza utumie 30 bob.
Ukiona gharama imepanda punguza watu. Hata bibi sahi hayuko.
Acha mchezo.
Sasa utakaje na bibi, utakaje na mchungaji, utakaje na mama, utakaje na baba? Hapana.
Bibi yako
ilibidi arudi alime.
Sasa akilima na kuna kina makoha huko.
Hapana, wako wote tuko Nairobi. Wanaume wote tulipaki Nairobi. Kama wewe uko na
walienda nyumbani.
Kama wewe ni mwanaume na uko na pipi town utatuambia vizuri unatoa wapi pesa.
Lakini kitu kimoja, rafiki yako wanakuwa watu matajiri sana. Ng'ombe wako na ng'ombe lakini atalala njaa.
Pesa na ng'ombe utajiri kwa wapi?
Hapo kwa ng'ombe.
Mwenye ako na pesa ndio tajiri.
Ako na ng'ombe atauza apate pesa.
Anauzia nani?
Lakini ubaya ni hawa kama huyu jamaa unaona hata nguo ni ile. Lakini ukiona ng'ombe
analisha. Si usiseme hizi nguo hii ni shuka, hita tu kitu vile iko. Hii ni shuka.
Sasa nani nikueleza hii ni shuka? Hii ni nguo hii ni nguo.
Sasa ukisema hii ni nguo nitasema ni kiraka.
Hii kama umesema ni kiraka basi ni sawa. Wewe ndio umesema si mimi.
Anyway, karibu sana studio. Nimefurahi sana kuwa nanyi. Bwana mtumishi. Tuambie kidogo kwa muda, maana ulikuwa hapa karibu miezi 2-3 hivi imeisha. All through umekuwa ukifanya nini kufikia leo sasa?
Tumekuwa tu tukijipanga, unajua corona ile tuchapa ikatufanyia ile kitu. Sasa Mungu akaturudishia neema. Sasa hivi tuko na show tunaianzia nyumbani. Ya kwanza tulifanya Ushako Western first edition. Sasa the second one tunaifanya nyumbani ya Nairobi ambapo ni Kawangware.
Umesema nyumbani Ushako bado
si muelewe kitu ninasema. Nasema tulifanyia Ushako. Mahali tumezaliwa sasa ni Nairobi, nyumbani. Kuna ushago na nyumbani tofautisha.
Nikuulize Hero, ushago ni pata Mabungoma, Kakamega, Western.
Yes.
Huku Kawangware
ni jamaa sikuchape hiyo
class. Huyo na hasira yao inakuwa baya.
Huku ni
Nairobi, Kawangware sababu
Kawangware Nairobi. Kawangware Nairobi.
Na yoyote inaweza ingia kwa ingi.
Kawangware Nairobi.
So umesema first edition mkafanyia ushago.
Yes.
Second edition unafanyia.
Tunaifanyia Kawangware. Hapo Precious Blood Rerouter. Ushaisikia si? Kawangware kuna vitu mzuri. Precious Blood Secondary. Sisi wenyewe tuko hapo. Unajua hata ukitoka Kawangware ukikuja
sasa ni kitu kizuri.
Nilikuwa karibu niulize hiyo swali. Wewe ni kitu mzuri?
No, kwani unaniongelesha kama mimi si mtu mzuri?
No bro.
Kwa sababu najaribu kukufanya
nipendeke.
Muulize tu swali moja. Anyway, mama yako akiwa nyumbani anaonanga ukiwa hivi, anasema kijana yake ako kasi Nairobi.
Bas. Na ananiona kwa TV kaka.
Hivi bro.
Sasa unaonekana kwa TV.
Kwa TV kaka TV.
So what is happening at Ongwaro?
Kesho kuanzia saa 6 mpaka saa 12 jioni tuko na wakurugenzi kama wakina Masai, Smart Choka, Wambilianga, MC Tricky. Wale wasanii wote wanakuwa Churchill show. Wanakuja kusupport show kesho. Itaanza saa 6 mchana mpaka jioni saa 12. Alafu kuna wale pia wa mashinani. Tunawapatia nafasi. Na tumeambia watu wakuja wafurahi ile kitu wao wanaona huko Churchill show, wakuja waione mtaani. Tungeifanyia Carnival, si ndio? Tungeifanyia Kenya National Theatre, lakini tulisema wacha tupatie wa nyumbani kwanza, alafu tuende huko nje. Na tumewapatia VIP hata yeye na kualika na KIRK TV technical wote wakuje. VIP ni 1000 watu watatu. Sawa?
Na nikiwa mmoja
ni 500 regular.
500. Sasa 1000 divided by 3.
No, wacha kudivide. Kwani una divide?
Wanatoa hiyo moja.
Unatoa inabaki 500. Regular 500.
Okay.
VIP 1000 watu watatu. Yes, hiyo ni test.
Kama ni wewe peke yako 500 uko sawa.
Na ukifili kulipa 1000 VIP pia tujakata.
But show nao itakuwa kali, umejiandaa vizuri.
Kabisa tuko sawa, kila kitu iko on point. Pia wale wanataka kulipa na till number wanaweza lipa kwa 7. Kiswahili ni ngumu.
Lazima useme Kiswahili 7. Niambie nitakusemea kwa Kiswahili.
72 0 1 7 8 3
ni ndefu. Sema in English.
770 1783.
7701783 ndo nambari kama ungependa kununua tiketi. Of course you pay that na unapata tiketi yako kwa gate ama
ukikuja na hiyo message pale kwenye gate unaonesha, alafu tunakupea tiketi.
What do you want to achieve? What do you people want to achieve from this what is the name of the
funny journey?
Funny journey.
Yes. Funny journey. Yes. What do you want to achieve?
Safari ya wajinga.
Ndio hiyo achache. The achievement is the funny journey.
Nini unataka kuachieve ndego? Nini unataka kuachieve?
Safari ya wajinga. Lazima tukiwa na wajinga wengi kwa hii safari.
So ndio tusaidiane
mashindano. Unajua huwezi eti ati safari ni mrefu kwa peke yako utaboeka. Safari ya wajinga.
Na
teni wengi.
Fetters of the same flock go together. Fetters of the same flock.
Unataka Wakenya wakuwe wajinga zaidi.
Wajinga wapaki wajinga. Kwa sababu tukikuwa wote nani ataona mwingine?
So what you want to do is to influence and impact those guys with talent kwa mtaa kwa grow zaidi. Nimewasaidia kuongea kwa lugha inaeleweka.
Naona unatupeleka mpaka pandika hapa pandika.
Kuongea ndio ngumu, lakini Kizungu unajua unaweza ongea mpaka lips zifure.
Yeah. So after Ongwaro we are next
we are taking it to the world. Sasa ndio tutaenda Carnival. After elections tunaifanyia Carnival kubwa kwa kiwanja watu wakuja.
When
after elections. We want the outcome of elections, alafu tutawapatia way forward.
Okay.
Yes, then we take it to the counties.
I know there was an issue with comedy, especially during COVID. Amkuwa mnapata shows, kuko na kulikuwa na a lot of restrictions. Right now mambo yamefunguka. Wakenya wameanza kurudi, Wakenya wameanza kushambulia na kufurahikia.
Tunachapa kazi. Si unaona ndio hii maana tunafanya hiyo funny journey.
Hapa kaka na tuko hapa kaka.
Tuko hapa kaka. COVID ingeturuhusa.
Huko ni pale kwa
tumetoka nduzi. Kama kwa ile kona ya roundabout pale.
Tumetoka nyumbani 7 am. Tumefika hapa 8 FM.
Imagine.
At 8 FM.
Huko ni mbali sana.
8 am umefika hapa?
8 FM.
Nyinyi ni wajinga.
Sana.
Tunakubali.
Chetu ya tu.
Hujakosea.
Wako right. You are very right.
Nyinyi ni wajinga sana. But kitu kimoja pia tunataka kuzungumzia ni technology, mambo ya online, because watu wanakwenda online sana. As far as mnataka kufanya kwa mtaa, your online audience watapokeaje? How they going to enjoy the content that you're creating online? Manake mnaenda kufanya huko kwa, you're going to do a show, a physical show, but what about your online audience?
Kuna tofauti sana ya kukua online na kukua physically. Physically ni mtu unaweza mugusa. Huyo si shetani ati unaama huko kwa YouTube.
Ama unaweza sema physical opposite ni chemistry.
Sasa huyo si ati yako kwa chemistry. Huyo ni mtu unamuona live, anakuongelea ukiwa hapo. Mnaongeleshana. So kuna kicheko ya YouTube, kicheko ya live. Ni tofauti sana. So kuja live utuone sisi, wacha kujeka kwa YouTube.
But after recording, after the recording we'll put it online. Kwa wale wakuweza kufika.
Kuona. Kuna watu wako kwa majuu.
Wajao.
Sasa
so our audience abroad. Alafu pia kuna ile test ya unajua carnival na kwa TV. Unapata cause ya time limit. Lakini sasa pale unaona kuanzia saa 6 mpaka saa 12 jioni. You have enough time.
Hata kuna kitu umekosa kusema. Wewe kwa TV unakuanga mnono hapa, wewe ni mcontent. Unajua sasa life vitu ni different. Wewe ni mkonte.
Unajua kuna methali inasema nyani atembei kwa mti.
Ni kweli hiyo.
Medali kama hiyo. Hakuna medali kama hiyo. Nyani atembei wapi?
Kwa mti.
Nyani atembei ile ya kuona ile kwa mti ya.
Mwikwintile. Inaitwa mwikwintile.
Ndio hiyo.
Nyani yao ni mwikwintile.
Sasa bana tunapomalizia tu.
Yani tunamaliza.
Hatuwezi kaa hapa siku nzima.
Tumekunywa maji chai ndio bado.
Nimesema mlikuja hapa mmefika FM. Sasa time ishaisha. Sasa tunapomalizia watu wa expect nini kutoka kwenu kwenda mbele now that tumetoka mashinani, mmekuja mashinani ya Nairobi. Ungwaroni mashinani.
Ujinga sana. Wa expect ujinga zaidi. Tunashitwa. Unajua ngwaro.
Watu wa expect nini?
Wewe ni wa Konko.
What I expect a lot of everything. Kenya is full of drama, so expect drama. And that is what we will tell them.
Mmefanya comedy pamoja nyinyi wawili, manake wewe umezoea mchungaji. Sasa leo
tunafanya nini?
Hebu piga moja hapo.
Tunakuuliza jamaa anasema nini? Kwani hatujaiji pamoja?
Ndio nachanga jamaa.
Kama kila kitu tunashare, kama ni msijana tunashare, kama ni ngoza tuna hiyo yako kila mtu peke yake. Sasa pole hiyo ngoza kila mtu peke yake, lakini kama ni demu bibi yako sasa.
Unajua Biblia imetuambia si Biblia sorry. Nini kuna wazungu wakikuja wanakuchanga kuona pig fight. Ndovu. Hizo ni wild animal, ndovu, lion, elephant, alafu buffalo. Alafu pia wanaonanga domestic animals watu kama Masai. Na kadhalika.
Hapo umeenda
domestic. So Masai ni domestic animal.
Ni kanga na ng'ombe.
Mas wewe ni domestic animal.
Mimi ni kwa domestic hana mwana ng'ombe ni kubwa. Huu ni kuku. Kuku unaweza toshanisha na ng'ombe.
You guys are fun.
Unaweza toshanisha kuku na ng'ombe bro.
Nani uliamua tu tai sasa ikose market. Uliamua tai ikose market.
Tai si nilikuachia. Nilikuachia tai.
Na hapo umesema
nilikuachia tai. Unajua umevaa tai za watu wangapi kwa hii kitambaa?
5.
Hizi tai zinaweza toshea kila mtu kwa hii activity.
Kitambaa ni meza curtain kwa mama mboga.
Curtain si meza.
Na hii kama ilipanguza ile the last supper. Ile ya kwa Biblia. Unajua nimesoma sana hii ni ilipanguza ile meza ya the last supper.
Sasa hii shuka zilitandikiwa Yesu akitoka.
Tuenye story hiyo ya fundra. Acha hiyo story.
So umesema ndugu hii koti ya rutisha akimaliza.
Hii ni ya makanka bro. So angalia nini.
Hatakuja kwa show yangu. Hatakuja kwa show yangu. Tuambie social handles ama ni watu hapa mbio sana.
So mikono yetu ni refu hivi.
Social handles mnapatikana wapi? Watu wa YouTube
Kawangware Ngong. Online. Kawangware Ngong.
Online Mutumishi TV, YouTube, Mutumishi Mutumishi TV, YouTube, Mutumishi IG, Facebook, Mutumishi.
Na wewe mas. Wewe najua
kwa social media.
Umeingia kwa social media.
Niko mpaka na Facebook.
Hebu sema.
Niko na Bookface inaitwa Bookface ni
Facebook.
Bookface ni Masai wa vioja mahakamani ama mass comedian. Niko mpaka Instagram.
Sema Instagram.
Instagram.
Uko TikTok.
Niko mpaka TikTok.
Mimi niko nini? Inaitwa Swindler. Niko huko.
Oh my God. Sasa wewe unafaa kutoka hapa. Swindler unafanya nini hapa?
Swindler nitafute kama Mutumishi.
What are you swindling there?
Sini social.
Kukula sana kwa matanka.
Mtazamaji.
Nini? Nimetaka kusema quick talk niko naitwa. Naitwa mass comedian one.
All right, so guys, I wish you the best, and I want to call upon you guys to come. Coming up next tomorrow is a show that they have called Fun Journey. You want to enjoy that? Kindly make sure that you support these guys because they are doing a fantastic job as far as making us laugh is concerned. So they're saying entrance just 1,000 for 3 people. Yes, if you're VIP. Coming alone, VIP. If you're coming alone, 500 bob. That's good for a show of 6 hours?
Yes, 6 hours.
6 hours. That's very little for that. So I would like to join you tomorrow.
Precious blood ukifika India.
Yes. But lazima kuna parking.
Iko hata kwa barabara.
Kuna trailer sasa hivi
ndogo ndio itatusumbua. Vizi hata unaosha mpaka na vyombo. Pia ine hizi kwa
sasa badani watoka hapa na viboko, tokeni hapa.
Umesema jikoni kwa.
Tokeni hapa.
Jikoni kwa.
Kuna kukula.
Jikoni hakuna unga umeenda.
Jamani
maziwa ile.
Hakuna kukula.
Maji amenyima nini huyu jamani?
Maji umekunywa chai ndio pato.
Ondokiani hapa. Coming up next, viewer, is an entertainment segment. Of course, we are going to have a gospel artist in studio to tell us 1 or 2 about what they do and their music journey called Muhima is coming up. So don't go away from your set.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah. The sound of creation, Yahweh is here. We release the sound of the heaven, the sound of creation, Yahweh is here. I cry, holy, 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 unto Yeshua, Shekinah is here. Yahweh, Yahweh, hey, hey, Yahweh, Yahweh, hey, Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Yahweh, Yahweh, hey, hey, Yahweh, Yahweh, hey, Yahweh, Yahweh, the sound of creation, Yahweh is here. We release the sound of the heaven, the sound of creation, Yahweh is here. I cry, holy, 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 unto Yeshua, Shekinah is here. Yeah.
Yes, it's about that time now. You get some anecdote of some sweet music, some worship music, some compelling and relaxing music from our one and only Mr. Muhima.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana, nashukuru.
Umefika?
Nimefika kabisa.
Unatoka mtoka Kongo ama uko unatoka sehemu gani?
Mimi natoka Kongo lakini Kenya.
Kenya.
Yeah.
Kule Kongo unatoka sehemu gani ya Kongo?
Natoka mahali kunaitwa Goma.
Unatoka Goma. Niko marafiki wengi sana wanatoka kule Goma.
Okay.
Wengi wanapiga muziki, wanabeta lindanda, mpeta gitaa. Wanapiga muziki mzuri sana.
Asante.
Na watoto wa Kongo.
Kabisa.
I love your passion. I love the way you worship. I love you know the zeal you have for worship.
Amen.
Now I've been listening to your music. It's very good music, very nice music that you can listen to anytime. Wakati uko juu, wakati unaishi uko chini, ukisikiliza muziki unasikia vizuri sana. Hebu tuelezee Muhima nani?
Asante sana. Muhima ni mimi Richard Muhima, nimeokoka na nashiriki kanisani kunaitwa Redeemed Christian Church of God, Victory Parish iko South B. Na mimi ni mwimbaji wa wimbo za Injili. Hivyo
tu.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Very simple.
Hauna mambo mengi.
Mambo mengi maybe kuje baadaye, lakini hivyo ndio huyo ndio mimi. Yeah.
Hebu tuelezee kimuziki, ulianza lini kimuziki? Ulijipataje? Kuna wale watu ambao ukiwauliza kimuziki wanasema mimi nilianza nikiwa utotoni. I began from my childhood. Wengine wanasema I was you know I got interest because I saw my friends sing and all that. How did you begin?
Muziki mimi nilianza pia nikiwa mdogo. Nilianza nikiwa mdogo, lakini mtu alinipush kufanya muziki sana, like kukuwa serious. Kuna msichana fulani. Kuna msichana fulani nilikuwa nampenda. Alafu akanialika kanisani kwao.
Ulikuwa unampenda ile kimapenzi ama
kimapenzi? Nilikuwa nataka tuwe marafiki. Nilikuwa nataka tuwe marafiki. So akanialika kanisani kwao. Then hapo nilikuwa nimeshaokoka. Sababu wakati nilikuja okoka, actually my mom ndiye alinihubirianga, akaniambia about Jesus. So vile aliniambia nikakuja kubali, nikaelewa, sababu alinionyesha kwa ukweli wa Yesu. Alinionyesha kwamba unajua huyu ndio Yesu hivi, na hivyo kuniambia ukipokea Yesu magari nini, hakuniambia hizo sababu ningemuuliza magari zako ziko wapi? Sababu tunaishi na yeye. So alinionyesha Yesu kabisa kiukweli. Na nikakuja kamua kuokoka. So after hapo akani push niingie kwa kwaya. Nikaingia but sikuwa na hiyo kabisa,
haikuwa imetoka ndani
kabisa, haikuwa inatoka ndani. Nilikuwa naenda sababu yake ili nimfurahishe. Alafu ikafikaka sasa nilikuwa naenda tu hivyo then nikakutana sana huyo msichana. Then akanialika kanisani. Kwa wakati nilienda huko the first day nikasikia venye kwaya naimba nini nikasema no. Nafaa pia kuanza kuimba hapa kwa hii kanisa sasa, hapa kanisani. Sasa hiyo idea sasa ya kufuatana na yeye ikaisha. Nikaanza kuwa nakuja church, naingia kwa kwaya nini nikaanza kuwa nashiriki hapo. Nikafanya hapo kitu 2 years. Ndio nikaenda sasa kanisani kwingine hivi. Huko sasa ndio huduma yangu ikaenda funguka mpaka vile nilikuja Kenya. Mpaka hapa tumefika. Imekuwa safari mrefu sana, lakini tunashukuru Mungu.
Mungu anasaidia.
Kabisa.
Huko muziki wa watu wa Kongo ukilinganisha na muziki ya watu wa Kenya. Unalinganisha kaje? Unalinganisha kaje wokovu? Okay. Na kufanyia Mungu huduma.
Okay. Kenya na Kongo kwanza ni nchi ziko tofauti na culture pia zinapishana. Kuna vile naweza tumikia Mungu kwa ama ni msifu kwa njia yangu, lakini Mkenya ataona kwamba this guy mbona ana over dance or ana over something. But kwa venye unatoka kusema hapo kulingana na huduma, niseme Kenya kuna wahudumu wazuri sana. Yeah, kama vile Kongo pia. Na Kenya kuna pia watu ambao hawako serious. Wanapeleka industry mbele, but huduma wanacha ministry nyuma sana. So but Kongo kakutana mtu ameamua kufanya huduma, ni huduma kabisa. Yani huduma, yani unakutana ni mtu ako serious. Ako serious kama ni wimbo, kama ni maombi, yani ako serious, ameamua kujitolea kumtumikia Mungu
kabisa.
Yeah. So Kenya pia kuna watu kama hao, lakini sio wengi,
wachache.
Yeah, ni wachache sana.
Bila shaka ningependa tutazungumza zaidi kuhusiana na muziki wako na unielezee ni nani kule Kongo ambaye anakuiongoa kabisa na hapa Kenya ni nani, alafu tukiendelea mbele. Lakini kwanza kuna wimbo ambao umeufanya ambao unaupenda sana mimi personally. Wimbo unaitwa Damu. Wimbo ambao ni mzuri sana ukiusikiliza. Si wimbo, yani uko hapo katikati. Unaweza hata songa nao kidogo ukitaka, unaweza fuatilia maneno. Hebu tusikilize wimbo Damu, alafu turejee zaidi tuzungumze na Bwana Richard.
Damu ya Yesu imetukomboa. Kama tumesimama mahali hapa siku ya leo ni kwa sababu ya kazi ya damu ya Bwana Yesu. So kama uko mahali hapa na haujampokea, iko tayari kukupokea. Haleluya. Haleluya. Acha tuende tuimbe wimbo huu pamoja. Thank you Jesus.
Imenikomboa damu ya Yesu.
Wapi vigelegele kwa Yesu? Vigelegele na shangwe kwa Yesu. Hey. Thank you Jesus.
Kwa damu yako nimepona. Kwa damu yako nimeokolewa. Kwa damu yako nimepona. Kwa damu yako nimeokolewa. Imenifanya nilivyo mimi. Damu yako imenisafisha. Damu ya Yesu imenikomboa. Damu ya Yesu imenisafisha. Damu ya Yesu imenikomboa. Ya Yesu imenitakasa. Ya Yesu imenitakasa. Ya Yesu.
Wapi vigelegele kwa Yesu? This is my young brother. So, acha tubariki.
Kama mtoto wako nimekombolewa kwa damu yako. Sina hofu mimi, nimezungukiwa na kila siku naitegemea, na kila saa yanizunguka, na nikianguka kwenye uchafu yanitakasa. Na damu yake ninajua nimetakaswa. Bila damu mimi siwezi.
Wimbo mtamu kweli kweli, wimbo mzuri kweli kweli. A nice song that is. You can worship, you can dance, you can meditate using that song. It's a great one. How did that song come about?
Thank you. Ni wimbo nilipatanga tu nikiwa kwa maombi. Then nikapatanga idea ya kuandika. Sababu nilikuwa nataka nifanye kwa njia ya nini ya evangelism because inaongelea damu ya Yesu.
Yes.
Yeah, so nikaifanya kwa ajili ya kufanya evangelism na pia kwa ajili ya kuweka Wakristo moyo. Kwa sababu sometimes ndani ya hii safari ambayo tuko ndani unajipatanga unaweza kuwa umetembea vibaya, umemkosea Mungu, then unajipata kwamba una feel guilt. Una feel like hata kuomba hauwezi omba. Yani unajipata kwamba haustahili tena mbele za Mungu.
Yeah.
Lakini nikafanya wimbo ili iweze kukutia moyo, ikuonesha kwamba no matter what ulipitia, damu ya Yesu ilikutakasa. Imekuosha dhambi zako. So you don't have to stay there.
Yeah.
Unafaa kusimama, repent na mwambie Mungu akusamee na uendeleshe safari. Yeah, ndio hivyo. Inaonesha tu hiyo, na huko mwisho kuna mahali tunaimba makila kwa Lingala. Watu wengi hawajuangi inamaanisha nini, but pia inamaanisha damu.
Yeah, makila ni damu.
Yes, ni damu kwa Lingala. So ni hiyo tu nilitaka tujue hiyo umuhimu wa damu ya Yesu. Yeah.
Inakuwa vizuri zaidi. Niko na show ya Lingala nitakuita. Tunaita rumba ya LOL. Rumba ya mbili. Asante. Siku moja kuja na bandi tupige muziki.
Nitakuja sana kabisa.
Yesu muziki.
Kabisa.
Sasa kabla tuzungumzie wimbo wako ambao ni Recent. Tunaitwa Mwenyekiti ya. Ndio. Kabla tujazungumzia wimbo, ni nani ambaye kwa wasanii wa Kenya, maana umekuwa Kenya kwa muda, unahudumu Kenya. Yes. Kwa waimbaji wa muziki wa Kikristo ama wanaohudumu katika muziki ya Kikristo hapa Kenya, ni yupi ile mmoja ambao unaheshimu sana na ambaye kikweli ukimwona unasema kweli huyu nikisimama naye naweza piga naye tu?
Niseme mmoja ama sababu wako wengi?
Basi nikupe wawili.
Lakini
mmoja the best nani? Wapo wengi kiasi hicho.
Yaani wako wengi pia wenye nimetumika na wao, so nikisema mmoja unaweza sema watatu basi.
Okay, nipe watatu.
Okay. Kuna Ruth Wamuyu, Reverend Ruth Wamuyu. Yeah.
Ni mwimbaji wa miaka mingi sana.
Yes. Kuna huyu kabisa ni mama kwangu. Ni mama kwangu, amenilea sana. Yeah, na pia kuna Solomon Mkubwa. Yeah, kuna Pastor Solomon Mkubwa, pia na mheshimu sana, ni mtu ambaye ametutengenezea njia hapa East Africa kote. Yeah, na pia watatu mwenye naweza sema mwingine nikimwongezea kwa mwingine wa mwisho. Yeah, kuna my sister Masika. Pia tumekutana naye sana kwa mikutano, na huduma yake imekuwa baraka sana. Alafu wa mwisho sasa ni Pastor Israel Ezekia. Yeah, huyo
najua wako wengi
lakini hao kwanza hao ni watu ambao nawaheshimu sana. Kabisa.
Na kule nyumbani nani ako na mafuta kabisa ile?
Mafuta ziko mingi huko. Lakini kuna huyo ambaye nilikuwa nampenda hata wakati nilikuwa nimeanza huduma. Yani huyo alikuwa ndani ya moyo wangu, anaitwa Pastor Atoms Mbuma. Yeah, Atoms Mbuma. Pia kuna mwingine anajiita Fiston Mbui. Yeah. Kuna mwingine anajiita Kulu Matope. Yeah. Wako wengi. Yeah, lakini meno wao wote kabisa, huyo mwenye ni wangu kabisa ni Atoms Mbuma. Yeah.
Huyo ndo umeangalia maisha yako tukianza.
Kabisa na hakuna ni pastor, kuna church kubwa sana. Lakini anafanya muziki pia, huduma nzuri sana. Yeah.
Tukimalizia tu ningependa utusaidie kufahamu ni tofauti. Unajua kuna watu udhani kwamba maana unatoka Kongo, kuna watu udhani kwamba Lingala ni aina ya muziki. Lakini Lingala ni lugha.
Yes.
Hata hapa Kenya utaona kuna msanii anasema mimi nataka kuimba muziki ya Lingala. Lakini akiimba anaimba na Kiswahili ama Kizungu. Lakini amesema ameimba Lingala. Unaweza tusaidia kwa dakika moja kuelewa muziki wa Kongo tofauti na lugha ni gani?
Yes. Vile nimetembea Kenya, Na vile unatoka kusema kabisa, hiyo ni kitu ambayo iko. Ni kitu ambayo mtu akisema kwamba anaimba Lingala ana confuse na 7. Yeah, ana confuse na 7 either rumba. Yeah, because hizo Lingala ni lugha na hizo zingine ni style za music kama Afrobeat, kama Afropop. Yeah. So kuna hiyo 7, kuna ingine inaitwa chakacha, ingine inaitwa rumba, ingine inaitwa folklore. Yeah, so ziko mingi. Yeah, ziko nyingi. So ukisema unataka uimbe Lingala, unamaanisha unataka kuimba kwa lugha ya Lingala, because tuko na official language ziko 4. Yeah, kuna Lingala, kuna Kikongo, kuna Chiluba na kuna Kiswahili. Tuko pia na Kiswahili.
Na Francais?
Francais sasa hiyo ni official language. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Kwa hivyo hizo ni lugha watu wajue vizuri.
Yes.
Na sasa wewe unaweza categorize kama mwimbaji gani? Are you a worshipper ama wewe ni mtu wa praise ama uko kote tu?
Nafanyanga zote. Yeah, nafanyanga zote. Sijui nijiweke wapi, but ina depend na venye wewe sasa utanipokea, nafasi utanipea kanisani. Yeah, so kuna watu wananijua kama worshipper. Kuna wengine wanajua kama huyu mjamaa ni moto kwa, yani praise moto. So ina depend na view yako.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nilikuwa na kuna ka clip fulani ulifanya hapo kwa YouTube kanasema shuka kidogo. Shuka kidogo. Kakaweka kidogo tu kakaweka hapo, kalikuwa katamu sana.
Asante.
Kakudance.
Asante.
Huduma yako ni nzuri sana.
Nashukuru.
Na nikutakie heri.
Asante.
Unaweza ukawapatia advice gani tunapomaliza ndio tucheze wimbo wako mpya ambao utatuambia ulikuja namna gani?
Yeah.
Unapotumalizia tu unaweza ukaambia nini wanamuziki wale ambao wangependa ama ndo wameingia katika huduma? Mimi sipendi kutumia industry, maana industry ukilinganisha na ministry havilingani. Wale ambao ndio wanaingia kwa huduma, wanataka kuhudumia Mungu kupitia ile talent amewapatia ya uimbaji.
Yes.
Lakini hawajui wafanye namna gani. Hawajui wajitoe namna gani. Hawajui waanzie gani. Waanze kutumika kwanza chini ya madhabahu, chini ya mtumishi fulani ndio wafike level, ama namna gani? Waanze namna gani? Waingie namna gani? Na wagrow namna gani?
Thank you. Hiyo ni swali kubwa sana. Yeah. So huduma kuna tofauti mbili za huduma. Kuna huduma ambayo kila mtu anaweza fanya. Ambayo kila mtu anaweza fanya, sababu Yesu alisema enendeni ulimwenguni pote mkawafanye watu kuwa wafuasi wangu. So kuna huduma ambayo kila mtu anaweza fanya, na kuna huduma ambayo iko particular. Yeah, ambayo umeitwa kufanya kama wewe. Umeitwa, yani hiyo ndio wewe umeitwa kufanya. So kwako kujua kwamba umeitwa kiupekee, hiyo yako kiupekee, unafaa kukaa mahali ufunzwe, because ni kitu ambayo unazaliwa nayo. Haikuji kwa atumevutiwa na hivi, hapana. Ni kitu ambayo umezaliwa nayo. So ukishajua kwamba kuna kitu ambayo unahisi ndani mwako kwamba it's like huwa na feeling like nafaa kutumikia Mungu kwa njia hii. Unafaa kutafuta kanisa, sababu kitu ya kwanza unafaa kuwa na kanisa. Kanisa mahali ambapo unahudumu chini ya mchungaji. Huyo ndiye atakusaidia kugrow, because hiyo kitu yenye iko ndani yako inahitaji kugrow. Inahitaji kutoka nje. So ukiwa chini ya mtumishi atakusaidia hiyo kitu yako kupanda juu. Then from hapo utajua uko mahali gani. Either sababu ukikuja kuimba, sababu kuna tofauti ya kuwa na hiyo huduma na kuwa na talent. Na hapo ndio watu wengi huwa tunakosea. Sababu utakutana mtu ako na talent lakini hana huduma. Ndio watu wengi unakutananga wanaishia kwa industry. Alitoanga wimbo ikahit, lakini hakuwa na huduma. Sababu watu wengi wana confusing, tuseme naweza imba na tumia emotions zangu. Naweza imba pia ni nguvu za Mungu ndio zinafanya kazi.
Ndiyo.
So you need to design, because it's a gift. Yeah, it's a gift. You need, tunafaa kujua kukuwa na design. kama wewe ni mchungaji na uko na waimbaji kanisani kwako, unafaa kujua wale waimbaji wako wote, ujue huyu akona hii kipawa, akona hivi ndio wajue na kusaidika mahali ambapo wanakwenda, wajue kwamba sisi tunatakikana kutembea hivi na kutembea hivi. Sababu kama umefunzwa, kuna sarakasi nyingi ambazo hautafanya. Sababu umepitia, ni kama umepitia class, umepitia shule. So kama unahitaji mwelekeo, ni ya kwanza ni kukua chini ya mchungaji. Mchungaji atakusaidia, na pia unaweza, kama mchungaji hana idea kwa vitu za uimbaji, unatafuta pia mentor wa muimbaji. Anakusaidia sababu uimbaji na kuanga na vita nyingi sana.
Ndio. Manake uimbaji ni kama umeenda vitani kupigana na shetani, kabisa, na kama haupo tayari atakubwaga bila shaka. Naona hapa kuna mashabiki wako hapa, sijui kama unamjua Apostle Etienne Samist. Anasema kwamba this is a man who inspires me a lot through gospel ministry. Papa Muhima, God bless you.
Amen.
Kuna mwingine anaitwa Moffat Shiki, anasema anakufuatilia sana. Kwa hivyo hapa Kenya tayari una wafuasi wengi sana, wakubwa sana. Wanaweza kupata wapi? Kwenye mitandao ama kwenye unahudumu? Na kama ungependa kuja kusikia tu ukifanya huduma yako tu.
Napatikana Facebook kama Richard Muhima. Napatikana pia Instagram the same name Richard Muhima, YouTube Richard Muhima, Instagram Richard Muhima, kote ni Richard Muhima kabisa. Alafu nashiriki pia RCCG, Redeemed Christian Church of God, iko South B, Victory Parish. Ukitaka tudumu pamoja, karibuni hapo. Tunatumika chini ya mchungaji Pastor Chibuzo. Naamini kwamba ukikuja kututembelea utabarikiwa sana.
Bila shaka. Tunapomalizia tu, ili watu wajue kwamba hiyo sauti, unajua kuna watu wakienda studio wanaweka zile zinaitwa auto tunes. Mtu hawezi toka kaimba peke yake kama hayuko hajawekewa zile effects. Hebu tupigia kapela ya mwenyekiti kidogo tu, alafu tuicheze tunapomalizia. Yes.
Kuna party huwa inanibariki sana, sababu nilipataka ilikuwa wakati mgumu sana. Lakini hiyo situation ilikuwa napitia, nikigeuza hivyo nikaangalia utukufu wa Mungu, nikasema okay, hata nikipata ama nikose bado sifa ni zako.
Ndio.
Inaimba hivi, nipate nikose, kiti ni chako tu, nishindwe ni faulu, sifa ni zako, utabaki kuwa Mungu, jana leo milele, utabaki kuwa dadi, jana na leo, wastahili kusifiwa, wastahili kusifiwa, wastahili kusifiwa, wastahili kusifiwa, wastahili kusifiwa, wastahili kusifiwa, umetenda mema, wastahili kusifiwa.
Hayo ni mwenyekiti wastahili ambayo imefanywa na the one and only Richard Muhima, mtoto wa Kongo, lakini yuko hapa nchini Kenya. Anaishi nchini Kenya. Karibu sana Kenya, and we love you people. You do good job.
I love you too, sir.
All right. See you again, God willing, next Friday. Bye.
Ewe Bwana mwenyekiti, uinuliwe, we mshindi. Ewe Bwana mwenyekiti, uhimidiwe, we mfalme. Ewe Bwana mwenyekiti, uinuliwe, unaweza. Ewe Bwana mwenyekiti, uinuliwe, wastahili kusifiwa, wastahili kusifiwa, wastahili kusifiwa Bwana, wastahili kusifiwa, umetenda mema, wastahili kusifiwa, wastahili kusifiwa Bwana, walipita wakakuacha. Abraham, Isaka, Yakobo walikuja na mambo yo yakapita. Kiti chako kinadumu